Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Chud Watch. How are you all doing? I hope you're having a good one. Happy holiday season, I guess. We're still working on the lighting, so if things look a little weird, I'm still adjusting with the new ring light, so if things are a little, off, that's why. We're gonna be making adjustments as things go, so it's cool. On Twitch, Heathen Child with 18 months says second sub baby, although I'm a terrible mother and forget the first sub baby's name. This second sub baby's name will be real easy for you. It'll be Subscriber Baby. Try and forget that one. Mike Max with 40-bit says it's funny that the Chuds are now worrying about people killing cops in GTA. It is very strange. What else? Dr. Worm, thanks for 32 months. Bittergrin, thanks for 36 months, says, dang, a fourth baby already. This baby's name is Botanical Fissure. And that catches us up 77% to level 1 on the hype train on Twitch. Over on YouTube, Safadil with a $10 super chat says, hi Hannah, Starry Beauty on Twitch, just wondering and if you're able to disclose this if you get a bigger cut from YouTube versus Twitch so I can switch to gifting on whichever platform you earn more from. At this point it's the same. I'm in the Twitch Partner Plus program, so either way it's a 70-30. So it's the same either way for me. That is with subscriptions and memberships. With bits, I get all of the bits that you give me, but you paid more for the bits than they equal to me, if that makes sense. But I think it's about the same. It's like a 70-30 split for both. Over on Twitch, Lansystry to Love Herself, with 4 months, says, hi there, formerly Lance the Ugly Androgen. Oh my god, Lance is trying to love herself. I'm doing my best. My wife yelled at me from downstairs. Here's to not waiting until the new year to make a change. Merry Christmas and happy holidays, one and all. Bummel Homestead says, I'm so tired, y'all. One more Nutcracker show, rather. I hope that it goes smoothly. I believe in you. Bummel Homestead... I just read that one. Xandris with 39 months says, time for Chuds, let's go. Happy Monday, Hannah. Hope you're doing well today. I'm doing pretty good. Hope you're doing well too. More bisexual lighting. This changes, but it looks weird. Like when I do it. It looks so dark. Actually, you know what? We changed it on the other screen, and then I never changed it on this one, too. That's one of the reasons it still looks weird, I bet. H-Red says, yesterday I put up my fake Christmas tree, and when I got it out of storage, found out that some squirrels had been in the attic. How was everyone else's weekend? That's good. Just have them pay you back rent. That seems fair, I think. Can I boost my volume? I can turn the volume of the music down. I can't make me any louder, but relatively, the music should be quieter, which means you can turn the whole thing up a little more, and I should be louder relative to the music, if that helps. Poetic Fox, with 33 months, says, hey, Hannah, hello, how you doing? 33 months. Freemasonry abounds. 53% to level 2 on a hype train. Squirrels paying acorn bits. Those can convert, probably. That's fine. Did I see the Doctor Who Christmas special trailer and the amazing Goblin Sky Pirates song? I did. I'm excited. I think that the new season looks great, and I'm kind of hoping they are just legitimately goblins. If they wanted to do a status quo change, especially after the Toymaker episode, I really enjoyed the Doctor having to deal with a borderline supernatural threat. So, I really enjoy the idea that maybe magic is back in the Doctor Who universe. The canon is that the Time Lords got rid of magic, but now that the Time Lords aren't around anymore, who's to say it can't come back? So, I don't know. I think that's a fun idea. Overthought, thanks for gifting a sub to Mistwatch. Stormageddon, thanks for 13 months at Tier 3. Appreciate you so much. A baker's dozen of months at the highest tier sub. I appreciate it. Very much so. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. 59% to level 3 on the hype train. Well, we're getting that going. Let's do some short-form Chud... Oopsie. Not ready for that yet. Let's do some short-form Chud stuff from Right Wing Watch and Chuds of TikTok, shall we? Santa and elves are real? Did you watch that episode? I don't want to spoil that Christmas episode, but not really. The Time Lords are never really gone. Sure, but they can be absent enough right now that they can have some fun stories with magical elements. Oh, look. It's the neo-Nazi, Nick Fuentes. What's he been up to? Hold on, I gotta turn him up.
An occult element at the high levels of society, and specifically among the Jews.
There we go, blatant anti-Semitism. It's almost like he's a fucking Nazi.
So many of the people that are perpetrating the lies and the destruction on the country, they are evildoers. They are people that worship false gods. They are people that practice magic.
Isn't he banned off Twitch? Yes, I got clarification on the rule, though. Like, you can't show his stuff without commentary, but you can show it and be like, fuck this guy. This guy's wrong. You can do it in, like, a reporting way, but you can't do it in a promoting way, is my understanding of the rule. Logarth says, the Doctor released magic back into the universe after the events of the Impossible Planet.
Or rituals or whatever, and more than anything, those people need to be, when we take power, they need to be given the death penalty.
Well, there you go. He's straight up talking about Day of the Rope stuff. Fun. It's not fun. I don't understand to this day why he doesn't get more shit. I know that he's kind of a niche thing that only exists on that weird website he streams on that I'm not even gonna name. Kinda seems like there'd be a bigger deal that there's a big online neo-Nazi with an audience in the thousands. Something.
Listen, I walk into a store and I can tell.
Oh yeah, he's gone completely mask off. He has for a while. It's not even something new. It's been years since he's had a mask on, but he's really not caring anymore. After the, like, Kanye stuff, he just let go completely.
I've had people growl at me. I've had little babies growl at me, like demons. And I'm like, yeah.
It's a weird lie to make up. Psychotropic Thunder, thanks for 31 months, 76% to level 3 on the hype train.
And you know who I am, and I know what's in you, there, little baby boy.
What? Oh, God.
What if they want? Now, if you...
Matt Walsh on children and same-sex couples adopting, or same-gender couples.
Now, if you are not the perceptive sort, you might listen to all this and say, well, this is unfair to gay couples. What if they want to have children? What are they supposed to do? Don't we need to have some kind of system in place to help them achieve their parenthood dreams? The answer to that question is no, we don't.
Personal freedom for me and nothing for thee. I am Matt Walsh, and I am arbiter of who gets to do what.
Sexual
minute left on the hype train.
Unions are sterile by their nature. It's not an exception to the rule.
The implication with that statement is that any couple that is incapable, for whatever reason, of procreating themselves without intervention or without outside help, I'm thinking things like IVF or surrogacy, whatever, they shouldn't have kids, so you're just general against IVF, is my assumption based on this, unless it's entirely based on hypocrisy, which it might be. Bumble Homestead with 200 bits, thank you. 83% to level 3 with 20 seconds. Someone saved the hype train, we're so close. So close.
When they are. It's not the result of sickness or genetic defect when a homosexual couple's unable to have children. None of them are able, or have ever been able, or ever will be able. That is a sign from nature, about as glaring and obvious as signs as you can ever see.
That is such a weird way of framing it. Thank you for the hype train, everyone. You act as though nature, and when he says nature here, he doesn't mean nature, he means God, presumably. Because nature doesn't have intent, it doesn't send you messages. We live in nature, we're a part of nature, but like, it doesn't have intent or messaging. That's such a weird metaphorical statement to make when really what you mean to say is morally I believe that you are not supposed to do this and therefore the universe has made it this way, which isn't how the world works. Stone Corbell, thanks for gifting a sub. Meek with 60 bits says, I fully believe Walsh hates gay people, but something about his hate feels performative. That's a decent number of people on the right these days. It's showmanship. It's a grift. It's an easy audience to get money from. Like, if I somehow could disguise myself and be a totally different person and start a career as like a right-wing grifter, you could easily make a ton of money. It's not difficult. You just have to really, 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 really hate other people or yourself enough to not care about grifting and saying terrible things for money.
That gay couples are not meant to have kids. They're not meant
There is no meant in this case. That's not how this works.
to have kids.
By what standard?
Because they cannot ever have kids, because kids are meant to have both a mom and a dad. Now, it's true that plenty of kids end up with just one of those or sometimes none, but this just means that something went wrong. In that case, you do the best you can to compensate. But with surrogacy, we are designing children from the outset to...
Oh, shit, I didn't mean to do that, sorry.
In case you do the best you can to compensate. But with surrogacy, we are designing children from the outset to be motherless or fatherless.
Surrogacy typically is a pretty expensive process. So usually, and I know you're going to come at it from a different place, but let me just explain what I want to, and that is, if you can afford surrogacy, the medical treatments and everything that go into it, you're probably at least financially able to support a child. And that's one of the big parts. The other part is loving them and taking care of them, and that's not a gendered thing. Anyone is capable of that. Not everyone wants to do that, but no one is not allowed to do that because they're either in a same-sex relationship or whatever you in particular think is morally unacceptable. In this case, I don't think most of society agrees with you.
We are intentionally depriving them of what they are supposed to have. You know, it's true that...
Yes, het couples use surrogates too, but he's not talking about that. He's very specifically talking about gay couples.
Some children...
He said it's fine for... The implication, at least, was that it would be fine for a heterosexual couple because their inability to have a child would be due to some sort of what he called, quote, malfunction, right? It's a broken mechanism that he believes is natural, right? But he believes that this is not the same thing because there's no mechanism that's broken. The mechanisms that exist just are not in line with the ability to procreate naturally.
Children grow up with one arm or no arms. But that obviously doesn't make it any more horrific or any less horrific or barbaric to intentionally chop a child's arm off.
Did you just compare kids having gay parents to chopping their arm off? Jesus Christ.
You know, the fact that some children end up that way, yes, but a child is supposed to have two arms at birth. And to intentionally design a child to only have one, we would all agree it's like mad scientist horror.
Making sure that two people who love each other can have a child that they can raise together and love, that's terrifying to Matt Walsh if both of those people happen to be the same gender. Smart.
But this is essentially what we're doing with commercial surrogacy. And only it's worse because it's far better for a child to be raised lacking one of his arms than to be raised lacking one of his parents.
That's quite a statement.
That's why I will never applaud and cheer when we get these birth announcements from gay couples, because I'm more concerned about what the child needs than what those men want.
The fuck is wrong with you, Matt? I think Matt didn't get hugged enough as a kid. That's a shame.
All these women out there throwing the word deadbeat dad around. If most of these ladies had to pay, how many of those would be deadbeats? But no, they get free housing, Little something on the
What?
food, help on that daycare. Hell, half
Do you know that government subsidies for, like, single mothers are not nearly enough to make up for the insane amount of expenses?
the guys out there that have to pay child support and alimony, they got to pick up a second, possibly third job just to keep up with the money.
Okay, yeah, sorry. You should probably not fucked up.
How do you even see your kid when you're trying to keep up with that?
That's a you problem, sir. If your marriage fell apart and you have to pay child support, that's a personal issue, and it seems like you're taking your anger at the result of this situation, and instead of pointing it inwards and being like, how did I end up in this situation? You're getting mad and blaming everyone else. I imagine that's the kind of behavior that led to your divorce.
But let's just call him a deadbeat. It's much easier that way, right?
Yeah, yep, life's tough. That sucks. Get over it. Tea with Goblins is I love watching Matt Walsh vote and seethe. I assume that's supposed to be cope. And see that other people existing and being happy. It's a reminder that every day that I exist as an unapologetic and joyful degenerate libertine in a metaphorical, is a metaphorical Lego brick in his miserable little foot. Remember, kids, if nothing else, stay alive because your continued survival makes Matt Walsh mad. Spite is a good motivator for survival as any. You know what? As long as you take that and you channel it into something positive for yourself, I think that's fine.
I absolutely love this. So in the wake of Bob Iger pulling all ads from Twitter to try to take down Elon Musk,
It's not trying to... What is this, like, constant belief that every single interaction is a competition? It's genuinely feels like conservatives think that every decision that is made that they don't like is intentionally malicious. Lumi, how's it going? It's been a while. Welcome, Raiders. I'm Hannah. I am a leftist variety streamer. My pronouns are she, her. We are looking at chuds today. We are looking at all sorts of weird right-wing beliefs, talking about them, making fun of them, having a good time. Make sure you go check out Lumi here on Twitch, please. They have raided before, and always, always excellent to hear from Lumi. I hope your stream went great.
the Daily Wire is going to spend $250,000,
$250,000 is a drop in the bucket compared to the advertising budgets that Disney, Warner Brothers, and the others who left were leaving a gap in the balance sheet, right? Like, for instance, marketing on one Disney movie can amount to hundreds of millions of dollars. Usually the formula that gets used is that the marketing budget is the budget of the movie again. So let's say it's a $200, $300 million movie from Disney, whether it's Wish or a Marvel movie or something. If it costs $200 million, they're probably spending $200 million thereabouts on the advertising. So $250,000 isn't that much. They can go ahead and try and plug holes, but continually, if Elon Musk continues to alienate all of his customers and advertisers, or at least most of them, it's not a sustainable business model. So as much as you can be, look at the movie they did that's super transphobic, aren't you super triggered, leftist, globalist cucks, or whatever they want to say that day? No, not really. It's embarrassing, first of all, because I've seen the trailer for that movie. It's fucking embarrassing. And secondly, it doesn't change the underlying reality that Elon Musk is destroying Twitter. Which is, you know, a shame. But it is what it is.
$1 million on ads for Lady Ballers. Now, I watched it last night, and this is my honest review. It's a parody of 2000s comedies like Tropic Thunder or...
Is it a parody of 2000s comedies, or are they just incapable of writing something that would be considered modern?
Dodgeball. And they definitely nailed that on the head. It is so triggering. The left is moving...
Oh, she literally said the thing. I was making fun of the concept, but she genuinely gave a review and in the positives column said, it is so triggering. Imagine how stressful it would be if one of your primary motivations when going through life is to intentionally anger and upset other people. That's gotta be exhausting.
Most likely going to try to cancel this in every way possible because it makes fun of absolutely every single one of their insanity, polarizing social justice abnormalities that
Polarizing social justice abnormalities. Weirdly, I've been hearing SJW and social justice warrior type stuff again. Are they nostalgic for Gamergate? I'm genuinely trying to understand. And on it being triggering, as a trans woman, the kind of person, I guess, if you want to call it that this movie is intentionally trying to target with its humor, it's so off the base of what trans people are that it's not making fun of me. At least that's not how it feels. Certainly, it's probably upset someone, but if the intent was to upset trans women, it didn't upset me. It just made me roll my eyes and go, oh my god, they really don't understand what the fuck they're talking about. Especially, I know there was that thing where Ben Shapiro mentioned they wanted to make it a documentary, but then they realized that if they were going to do that, they'd actually have to find cis men who wanted to go on, like, T-blocker and estrogen for, like, a year or two, because that's usually the standard for, like, leagues and stuff that do allow trans women to play, is being on HRT for a certain number of years. And then Ben Shapiro found out no one wanted to do that. It's almost like the idea that trans women are just secretly men trying to win sports is comically ridiculous and based on an entire ass misunderstanding of how human beings work, much less trans women. Jesus.
they're pushing in our society right now. They are losing the culture war. And this movie takes a fork and sticks it into every single one of their complete insane narratives. If you're not subscribed to the Daily Wire, it is worth it to see this movie.
Yikes. Someday I'll hate myself enough that I'll subject myself to finding that movie somewhere for free, wink wink, and making myself watch it. Because the cringe, pretty sure is going to be unbearable. H. Baird says, when the term SJW first came out, I was the only one who wondered why there was so much sudden hate for, quote, single Jewish women. I'd never heard of SJW as anything other than social justice warrior before that. So no, I didn't. Kind of reminds me when people talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene, though. There was a period where I kept wondering why people were talking about Magic the Gathering so often. Tea with Goblins says, I know that art is subjective, but I think that someone's genuine enjoyment of media like Lady Ballers is a good litmus test for someone who is both uncreative, unintelligent, and unkind. Dark and edgy humor takes skill and originality. A joke needs to be more than just crassly reproducing harmful stereotypes. Okay, you enjoy scraping the barrel. What an intellectual powerhouse you must be. And it's funny, too, considering, like, early 2000s comedies that she claims Lady Ballers is based on. That's, like, peak era of comedy being based on mean. And what I mean by that is, like, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, Adam Sandler period of comedies. And in the early 2000s with stuff... There was a lot of humor that was just based on, like, haha, this person is old or gross or trans or ugly or fat or too hairy or not hairy enough. Like, you know, the jokes were always like, look at this person different at you and laugh. And, like, even outside of just how uncomfortable that is, morally, it's just lazy. Like, it's like lizard brain humor. It's like, haha, that person's different and that makes you feel uncomfortable. Isn't that funny? It's just very out of date. Very out of date. Same for the MTG thing. Yeah.
That tastes This is day 8 of eating raw meat every single day.
Oh, God. What is this? In their search for meaning, it's like the entire right wing has just gone into weird survival mode where they're coming up and latching on to insane worldviews, like the raw meat eating people, just to try and get through the day, because their primary worldview of conservatism is so wrong that objectively every day they're facing how wrong it is. Okay, now I'm just being a pretentious asshole. That's not true. Generally, as I've talked about, when we talk about conspiracy theories, the world is a very complicated place, and people, both on the left and the right, look for narratives that help fill their uneasiness with the unknowns of the world. Unfortunately, it seems like people on the right have a tendency to latch on to stuff like eating raw meat or anti-vaccine stuff. It's unfortunate.
Today I have some raw chicken and some lemon.
Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. That's
Oh, this one's really
disgusting.
good. Raw chicken is the raw meat that people fear the most, yet it's the raw meat that tastes the best. The issue with store-bought chicken is they wash it in bleach or citric acid, and unfortunately it's not citric acid that comes from a lemon or an orange. It's actually derived from mold. I got this chicken from a local farm. It's washed in nothing but water. I'm gonna have to rate it a 10 out of 10. This is Dave.
Oh, not fun.
While talking with Jeremy Boring for a video promoting
That was the AI voice one. I thought it was the actual clip. Okay, let's get into the Elon thing. So, credit to whoever made this joke first. It wasn't me. Don't remember who, but basically, nightmare blunt rotation. Alex Jones, Elon Musk, Andrew Tate. What the fuck? All in a discussion. So let's skim through this. We're not going to sit through the whole thing, but it's just everyone I hate in one conversation.
So Elon Musk, Alex Jones, and Andrew Tate and more were on a space on X talking about the reinstatement of Alex Jones on the platform. I think it's a very important conversation to follow so that you can actually make up your mind without the media trying to spin
Without the media.
snippets of this conversation to try to fulfill their agenda. So I'm going to republish this here with the hope that by listening to the whole conversation, you can more clearly make up your mind and choose for yourself.
Elon, how are you?
Good, Mario. Yeah, it's been these are tumultuous times, wild times indeed. As you just mentioned, when there's an account with a large number of followers that is restored to the system, you have to
Jesus, did he upload it going fast? Why does he talk so fast? That's got to be sped up.
knit the thing together, so that takes several hours. So
No? Does he just talk fast? What the fuck?
Alex's account should be working. And Alex, I honestly don't really know you, and you don't know me, but one of the questions I really have to just get
But
out
I
of the way.
do know you piss off the media, and because I am a man-child that can't handle criticism, I assume everyone the media criticizes must also be super rad and awesome, like me, Elon.
And you've probably talked about this already before, is the whole Sandy Hook thing. If somebody's sort of denying or that murders of children, that's not cool at all. And
That's not cool, bro. It's not cool, bro, to lie about murdered children.
so just what exactly did you say, and what is going on?
Yes, you should definitely trust Alex Jones to tell you the truth here, despite him losing like $1 billion already in lawsuits. You should definitely ask him personally, and he'll be truthful, because he's a truthful guy. He's not. Alex Jones is a liar? Why would you ask him directly when we have on camera what he said? It doesn't matter what he said. We have what he said on camera, because he said it on his TV show. His internet goddamn show. How strange. You didn't think to maybe look it up before you unbanned him, what he said? You're just like, I don't know, I'll unban him. What did you say?
With that situation, I would like to actually hear.
Yeah, I can turn up the source. Sorry about that.
What did you say? And yeah.
Well, Elon, thank you for allowing me back into the public square so that I can actually
This is actually the private square owned by Elon.
tell the world what really happened. I don't know how much. Would you like the short answer or the medium answer or the long answer?
I think at least the medium answer. Look, I guess people just want to know. Like, obviously, it would be like heartless and cruel to deny a school shooting of children.
Right, and that's what he did. That's why he got sued, because his actions, his words, led to other people harassing the families of the children who died. You could have looked this up before you unbanned him, you idiot!
Or to attack.
Elon like, what is his fucking problem? He does not operate like a human being. So bizarre.
the parents or anyone who was involved, it seems that that would be, you know, just incredibly mean and cruel, frankly. So it's sort of, that's, I think, you know, what a lot of people are upset about, or at least they think that is the reason to be upset about. And, you know, if that were true, I think we would rightly be, you know, upset with you.
Yeah, yes, sir. Well, please let me then just tell you what really happened, okay?
Here comes the part where he's gonna lie.
And if you want me to send you a dossier with clips and videos and articles,
I mean, post it to your account, you know?
Yes, sir, I will do that.
It's called The Cherry Picked File by Alex Jones.
So let me tell you what happened. I'm a guy that didn't go to college. I mean, a few years of community college. I started out on Access TV 29 years ago. I was not professionally trained. And by 2000, I had 30 million viewers and listeners a day conservatively. I was the biggest show, as big as Rogan is now or bigger. And I had a very small operation and did not even understand how powerful I was. And so when that event, I just call it the school shooting, which I do believe happened 11 years ago.
You think he was on the record claiming that he believed that the government faked the shooting with actors. That is literally what his case was over. He was sued and lost.
The internet exploded. It was a top story for off and on for years with all these professors and former school safety people and all of them saying they believed it was a drill. And I simply covered them covering that. What was internet?
I covered them covering it. I didn't cover it. I covered someone else covering it. I quoted someone else's quote. I didn't say it. I just repeated something someone else said. Also not true. No. He literally would say his opinions about things. What are you talking about?
In court against me in both cases. Where
yes, he owes the victims like $1 billion.
Was found guilty by judges. There's a judge in Trump's case, not even a jury, in his real estate case. And then...
Yeah, I believe that was requested by Trump's lawyers was a bench trial.
Years later, after Trump got elected and after I was deplatformed, it made me bigger. And so suddenly I would wake up and there would be sometimes 100 articles or more a day, every major news channel saying that I was currently saying nobody died, currently sending people to their houses, currently peeing on graves. I didn't even know these people's names. I only said one of their names ever. Now,
so that doesn't matter.
I believe their children died. And
you said slanderous things.
And I understand all that.
Okay.
But I'm saying, imagine I was not deplatformed. No mention of the school shooting in Connecticut for like 6-7 years. Then they go.
It doesn't matter. It's still a thing you did. So they sued you. Jen Graham with £5 on YouTube says, remember that time Alex was told to pay millions of dollars to the clients because his lawyer sent his entire phone record by mistake? That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Go back to my timeline, and it turns out it was a big New York PR firm, Democratic Party. They dredge it up. They run hundreds of articles, sometimes a day, but a week for...
The families were trying to sue you long before that. What are you talking about? All they have is lies and blaming. Oh, it wasn't the result of my actions. Democrats did this to me. The media did this to me. You did this to you. The consequences of your own actions did this to you.
Over a year, suddenly it becomes a big story again.
What's the PR firm?
People, pardon me?
Which propaganda firm was this? PR.
Which propaganda firm was this? This man owns one of the biggest media outlets on the planet accidentally. Jesus Christ.
Public relations is a propaganda word for propaganda. So I think we should call this propaganda firms because that is, in fact, what they do. So what propaganda firm was this?
I will find the name as soon as I'm off because I can't do 2 days. I'm not good at doing 2 days at once. I can't walk and chew bubblegum, but I will post it to the 2X because after they got their $1.5 billion judgment and asked for $2.67 trillion, that the GDP of India, I'm not joking, folks, that's Bloomberg. They then came out and bragged that they had quarterbacked the whole thing. They're one of the biggest. They do the UN's PR.
Okay.
Not that they had quarterbacked, quote, destroying Alex Jones. And so I did question it. I did say at times I could see that. I'm not even say it now. They'll take it out of context. Say I said it again. I did have what they entered in court on me was 23 minutes of video and audio.
Yeah, it was a montage of all the times he had denied the Sandy Hook thing happened and claimed it was actors and all that shit. DM Trey says, let's be very clear. Alex paid for these families to be stalked and harassed. He paid for them to never be allowed to mourn the death of their children. He inspired the vandalisms of children's graves.
Over 5-6 years. We did an audit. I hadn't talked about them when they sued me for 2 years. I refused to talk about
it. It doesn't matter. What is this? I hadn't slandered them for 2 years when they sued me for the previous slander. It doesn't matter. You did it. You did the thing. What is this? You think you can just move on, and because you've moved on that they have, and that people aren't continually harassing them because of the things that you've said on your public show with your unhinged audience? Go fuck yourself.
I apologized when
I apologized. After I told them that they were faking the death of their children and that they were paid actors by the government to try and steal everyone's guns, I didn't talk about them for 2 years, and I apologized, so they should just get over it. This man is a disaster. He is awful. I am viscerally angry. I don't like to get mad. He's making me very mad.
PR firm got involved, and I didn't know who it was at the time. It was just all over the news. I said, hey, I thought it happened.
Yeah.
I said it happened. I said it happened. I decided it happened 5 years after it happened. So I said, I'm not the Sandy Hook guy. It turns out some of these experts that said it didn't happen are crazy. They made up stuff. I said, I believe it happened. And then they spun it and said, oh, now he admits he lied about it. So it isn't who I was. It's kind of like they've done with you, and you did nothing like I did. I mean, I did question it. I did say a few times that I thought it hadn't happened, but I didn't turn the knife. I didn't really think about it. I thought about how I was talking about the internet with YouTube videos with 30, 40 million views that I didn't make.
Sure.
It was a hot topic that would come back from time to time. But no, I was not the creator of it. I was not the projector.
But you were certainly its biggest mouthpiece. Atheist Brony says he only didn't talk about Sandy Hook anymore because he was probably too busy saying other shootings were hoaxes too. Yeah, he does continue to do that stuff.
Of it, I was not the guy pushing it. And then I kept saying, no, I believe it happened. And they went, aha, you now admit you lied for money. So
I think his divorce made him worse. Probably.
What's not true is I never made any money off of it. I barely ever covered it.
You never made any money off of it? What are you talking about? It was on your show that you make money from. It was a main topic of your show that you do for money. What the fuck?
It's not my identity. And it's just like...
It doesn't matter if it's your identity. Your identity might not be robbing a bank, but if you did it, you still get punished. He's such a bullshitter. Moira Soma says the fact that Alex Jones still having paid these people makes me so, or still hasn't paid these people makes me so angry. Why is he allowed to get away with this? He doesn't have that much money. I assume the idea will be for the rest of his life he'll be hounded, and his, like, checks, if he's getting them from anywhere, will be, what's the word I'm thinking of? When the government forcibly takes money out of your paycheck. It's probably going to be difficult with him, and he's going to try to do shit to get paid under the table, I'm sure, but there'll be people watching him. As a cleanse, can we watch the clip where the lawyer shows in court Alex talking about bad about the judge on his show? That would be fun. Let me see. If you could actually, can you find the clip? You find the clip and I'll play it.
They misrepresent what you say.
Garnish.
Take one little thing and twist it, and then say you need to apologize for it, and then they just keep hammering it and hammering it. So I've been desperately, I mean, in fact, I'll post it to X if you want. There's over 100 apologies that I've given.
It doesn't fucking matter. What in the world?
Over 100.
Make sure you like the stream on YouTube.
In fact, probably 500. Every show I go on, they ask this. I apologized on Joe Rogan's show 5 years ago. I apologized on Patrick Ben-David's show 5 years ago. I mean, these are prominent ones. I apologize on every show, and I'll say it again. I apologize that I just gave my commentary, because I'm really just a guy that talk radio host.
Yeah,
so
it was a default judgment because he refused to comply with the court. Like, he just wasn't, the court was like, hey, we need discovery, and we need you to show up for your court dates, because that's the law, and he just refused. Kind of the stupidest way you could lose your court case, I guess.
take calls, interview guests, and that I played devil's advocate. And if that hurt people's feelings, I apologize. But
You didn't hurt people's feelings. You spread lies about them maliciously and helped continue to ruin their lives.
Did not send people to your houses.
Yes, you did.
I did not pee on graves.
You certainly got people to do so through your lies.
I don't know any of the stuff that went on. And then when they had the trials, after I was found guilty, trials on damages, there was never any video of people peeing on graves. Any video of people
Does it fucking matter?
at houses. There was an FBI agent who was there that day at the tragic event in New Haven, Connecticut. But Sandy, I can say the name. He was there.
I'm not gonna say the name.
And he didn't have an FBI vest on, and his gun was pointed the wrong direction, pointed upside down. The internet questioned him. When he got on the stand in Connecticut, my lawyer said, has Mr. Jones ever said your name? No. Has Mr. Jones ever put your picture on the internet? No. Have any of his hosts done it? No. Has InfoWars ever put your picture out or said your name? No. What happened to you, sir? One man, he said, called 8 years ago now and asked me if I was really an FBI agent. The jury gave him $94 million that doesn't exist. $94 million that never said.
I like that you picked the person who had the least direct contact in order to make a point. Yeah, he got a small portion compared to the others because he suffered less, relatively speaking. Because you, again, were told to give like $1.5 billion. So 100 million of that is a small portion. The rest is going to the people who had to move continually because of the harassment of your audience.
His name. So I challenge people to find me, say any of their names. I said one guy's name and
full clip. Judge bid starts around 6:25. Cool.
Slowly spelling your last.
You don't think this is an important case? That's a yes or no, sir.
Your name, slowly spelling your last name for the record and the town in which you live.
starting with my last name.
No, just state your name and spell your last name for
Okay.
the record.
Alexander E. Jones, Jones.
And your town?
Austin, Texas.
So there's water here in the picture.
Oh, great, thank you.
If you want a bottle of water.
Thank you.
Just let Mr. Jones get situated.
Hold on.
Thanks.
The way that people felt about Kissinger is the way that I feel about Alex Jones.
Right? You may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Jones, you're here.
I also felt that way about Kissinger, but,
Pursuant to
you know, the Grim Reaper got that prize, so.
Subpoena today, is that correct?
Someone replaced the
Yes.
meme.
You were
Replace
deposed
Kissinger in the
Connecticut
meme.
earlier this year, and at that time, I arranged to have a subpoena served on you to assure that you would appear at this trial, correct?
I believe so.
And you could have come to this courtroom at any time since we've started if you wanted to, correct?
Yes.
Right. In fact, you know where the courthouse is because you've given press conferences right outside this courthouse yesterday and the day before.
You have a list? Too bad it's not a note of some kind.
Correct?
Yes.
But this is the first time you've been in the courtroom. Yes?
Yes.
This is the first time you've been under oath in this
Yes.
case, right? And you understand that the families that I represent brought this case against you about 4 years ago
Yes.
to seek justice from this jury for what you did to them, correct? You understand that's why we're here?
I understand they sued me, yes.
Right. And this is an important case. You understand that?
I mean, that's an
His
opinion.
brony says, "Mwahaha, the water you drank had fluoride in it. The mind control serum is active, Alex."
Okay. You don't think this is an important case? That's a yes or no, sir.
It's not, I don't really think it is a case. I don't think it is a case.
Okay. We're going to there's going to be a lot of this today. And
Objection, Judge.
All right, so let's iron out the wrinkles now. If you can answer the question with a yes or no, Mr. Jones, answer it with a yes or no. If you don't know the answer, you can say you don't know the answer. And of course,
I love seeing blowhards on the stand because they're so used to being able to just like opine and, you know, paint their bullshit story. But on the stand, you're really not supposed to do that. So it's funny watching them have to be like, hey, don't do that. Yes or no.
There's an objection, you'll just wait for me to read on the objection.
this is an important case, isn't it, Mr. Jones?
I think this is historic.
Okay. Mr. Jones, the judge just gave you an instruction.
Objection.
To answer the question, yes or
Objection
no.
to turn to court.
So I'll
Should we do it again?
do this. So the question, Mr. Jones, is it an important case? And the answers that you can give are yes, no, or I don't know.
Yes.
You can understand why it would be very important to the families I represent, correct?
Yes.
But it's also important to you, isn't it?
Yes.
Because you've been using this case as a marketing opportunity over the past couple of weeks, haven't you?
No.
Mr. Jones, you created a new website on Infowars.com called Kangaroo Court, just so your followers can watch this case, haven't you?
That's not a website.
That's not a website.
What would you call a web page on Infowars.com?
It's a page.
Okay, page.
It's a web page, not a website. It's a page on my website. That thing I wasn't supposed to write isn't in the book. It's not a book. It's a page in the book. Childish.
Correction. There's a web page on Infowars.com that you've titled Kangaroo Court, so that your followers can watch what's happening here, right?
Yes, that's my opinion.
Okay. And why don't we pull up, actually, Exhibit 504. This is, just for the witness, please. Exhibit 504, there's a screen down there for you, Mr. Jones. You see that?
Yes.
Okay, is that the Kangaroo Court page that you've had up and running?
Yes.
Okay, I'd offer it, Your Honor.
No objection.
And you see here, you've been clipping testimony that's been happening in this courtroom over the last couple of weeks, haven't you?
I have not been clipping, no.
You don't do that yourself. You have
Your people who run your website are doing that.
employees do that.
I'm not even directing it.
Oh, okay, so you didn't know that this was happening?
Objection. Argumentative.
Overruled.
No, I've not been there, and I don't direct most of the headlines.
They just know that this is what you want, right?
Objection calls for speculation.
Overruled.
I'm not supposed to talk about the prior rulings.
Excuse me, sir.
So how do I answer why I think something's a kangaroo court if I'm not supposed to say why I think it is?
The question that I just...
Such a baby. Dr. Gamble says you can tell when he was asked the question about the case's importance, he knew where this was going and tried to weasel his way out. And Trevor of House Belmont, thanks for 30 months, says of course elongated brings another fash to his hell site.
Asked you, sir, was whether you knew that your employees wanted to do this, whether they knew that you wanted them to do this.
Renew my objection on speculation.
And it's the same ruling. Do you understand that question, sir, or do you want it played back or repeated? Because I want to make sure you're answering the question that's
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they agree with me. That's why they put that headline up.
And right above there, as you're saying, watch highlights from the Alex Jones Sandy Hook Kangaroo Court hearings, you're running an ad for Brain Force Plus, right?
Yes.
Orders a day, right? This is what you're showing your audience. The next generation of advanced neural activation and nootropics. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Surprised he hasn't been sued yet about his like nasty supplements and stuff. That seems like a lawsuit that would be good.
And how much is that going for on InfoWarsStore.com right now with the sale?
I don't know.
And ever since this trial started, and you've been calling it a kangaroo court yourself, right?
Yes.
Right. And you've called this judge a tyrant, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you actually use that word a lot with your audience. You call people tyrants, don't you?
Only when they act like it.
Okay. And
wrong answer.
One way that you've been conveying to your audience that Judge Bellis has been acting like
who's the troll?
Like a tyrant is by showing her with lasers coming out of her eyes, right? You know you did that?
I didn't direct that. First time I saw it was in court.
Oh, so you've been watching this?
Yeah, I've been watching.
Okay. You could have just watched from the stage.
Objection, argumentative.
sustained.
But you've been broadcasting your show during this trial, haven't you?
I have changed some of my show.
Let's pull up 477. Is this full? This should be in already.
It is.
I think Elon would bring Kissinger back to Twitter if he could. Oh yeah.
And what was it, Ron? 477?
477, Your Honor.
This is the tyrant you've been telling your audience about, right? Yeah.
I'm barred from saying why I said it. So
I didn't ask you why.
Sorry, M. Scheffler. M. Scheffler said, if I can get this to work. Boop, boop, boop. Sorry, find it. There it is. Alex Jones is the best evidence that the cream rises to the top in our economic system is bullshit. He's an idiot and a cruel individual. Being cruel is probably the #1 trait required to be rich in capitalism. Oh, he certainly doesn't mind fucking people over.
Oh,
this is the tyrant you've been telling your audience about, right?
I believe.
Sir?
So, Mr. Jones,
Yes.
look at me. It's yes, no, or I don't know.
I don't know.
The answer is you don't know.
About that. I didn't make that.
This is the tyrant pictured here that you've been telling your audience about, right?
I thought you were asking me again about the image or about me believing this is tyrannical. Can you restate the question, please?
Sure. I'll restate it for the third time for you.
Objection to the comments. Move to strike.
This is.
And we have one motion. Okay, thank you.
This picture right here, that's Judge Bellis, correct?
Yes.
Lasers coming out of her eyes, correct?
Yes.
That's who you've been referring to as a tyrant to your audience, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you refer to tyrants to your audience a lot, right?
Some.
Right. Tyrants are people who are going to oppress others and strip them of their freedoms, correct?
That's a common definition.
Right. And you've not just called Judge Bellis a tyrant, but you said that this whole thing, what's happening here, is part of a plot, isn't it?
Objection, motion eliminate.
No, not the whole thing. I think the jury's real.
So, can I have that question again?
Yeah, I think what I asked you.
Understand.
Yeah, that wasn't even the section where they found his phone, I don't think, or they had all his messages. Though that was good.
And I apologize.
Dr. Gamble says, you know that moment in euchre when you go alone, then realize that was a mistake and are about to be uked? This is that moment. I don't know much about euchre. I've only played it like once.
To him on the stand. The thing had probably 100 million views on 5 or 6 different YouTube videos of him smiling and laughing before he walked to the mic. I played the clip one time and said, yeah, that looks like he's an actor. I did not attack him, did not come after him, did not say his...
Saying that you think he's an actor is attacking him. You're making a malicious statement about someone that isn't a public figure, that is untrue, and you should know is untrue, which led to him being harassed. Thus, the predicament you're in.
Child didn't die. Look, I don't want to fight with him, though. I said to them,
did you hear
that?
I
did not say his child didn't die. Look, I don't want...
No, you simply said that he didn't have a child, and that that kid who died that is his child wasn't his child. See the word tricks he's playing here? He's saying, I didn't say their child didn't die. No, what he was saying was, they didn't ever have these children, and it was all an act and fake and manufactured. So in his head, he has no child that he can say never died, because he doesn't think it was his child. He thinks they were actors, and so are the parents.
I want to fight with him, though. I said to them...
Demos says, here's a song where Alex drinks his own product. Oh, God.
And we're not getting what humans always thought was key, the bone broth.
The fucking bone broth.
The bone broth. The bone broth. The bone broth. The bone broth. Well, now it's the next level of that. It's caveman. But hey, I need a glass of caveman. Caveman. Man, it's better than Ovaltine. Better than Ovaltine. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Caveman is just over the top. What in the world? But now with the milk, I was like, whoa, this has milk in it. Whoa. It tastes like good. Man, this tastes so good. Tastes like the best milkshake ever. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. Like good. In a deposition, I said, I will chop my pinky finger off with a meat cleaver right now. And I will. If you'll just leave me alone and stop saying I made hundreds of millions of dollars off of you and stop saying I'm attacking you. So it's very...
Well, that would be a lie, so no.
Very simple. I have become, and I know what happened. The media ran...
H-Beard says, I had to eat straight broth when preparing for surgery. That stuff is nasty.
a year of articles attacking them in my name, saying things I never said as a straw man, enraging them against me, and then...
This is the thing that Alex Jones and a lot of conspiracy theorists, grifters, and right-wingers like to do. They'll triangulate a position. What I mean by that is they will say, for instance, he won't directly necessarily say, though he might have said this at some point, and I think he probably did, oh, they were actors, and their kids are alive. They were actors too. But what they'll do is they'll be like, oh, a person who is an actor who specifically does things for like mass shootings or bombings or whatever, they're crisis actors. So that creates this other thing over here. So he doesn't directly say they're lying and that they're kids or whatever, but he'll imply that they are crisis actors, thus without saying it directly, imply it. And more lately, that's what he's been doing, because he's concerned about lawsuits, which he should be. He lies a lot. Quiet One, thanks for gifting a sub.
So they've been victimized. They've been manipulated by a PR operation. And so I would love...
He's still conspiracy theorying. It can't just be that he did something wrong and faced the consequences. Even there, the victim parents are being manipulated into hurting Alex, even though Alex started all of this.
Love to come on X with the family.
Logarth says, if you're against broth, does that make you anti-foe? Fucking puns, man.
I'd love to raise money on this show or your show.
Antifa. That makes the joke work better.
Elon or any of them. I'd love to come on here and raise them $10 million for gun safety awareness next week. I would love to be in an open panel with them. I would love...
Okay. It actually looks like Ed Krasenstein wants to talk. Maybe Ed, could be good to hear from you.
Yeah, so I kind of have a question for you, Elon. So let's say that...
Okay. I mean, this is not an opportunity to interview me.
No, it's in regards to Alex Jones, though.
Okay.
It's related. So let's say Alex Jones or somebody else does the same thing, but clearly directly claims that a school shooting did not take place when we know it did.
Which is the thing Alex Jones already did.
Does that future person or Alex Jones get banned, or is the new policy that they remain?
We need to look at the circumstances there. Like, we're trying to follow here is to obey the law. So obey the laws of the United States, obey the laws of the countries in which X is present, and really do our best to not go beyond the law on the premise that if the people wish the law to be different, then the people will ask their representatives or their leaders to change the law. But otherwise, our goal is to hew as closely to the law as possible. So if somebody says something that is unlawful, then we will take action. If someone does not do something that is unlawful, then we would aspire to not take action.
That's demonstrably untrue, though, because someone that Elon liked posted child sexual abuse material a while back, and he let him back on, even though that is incredibly illegal. So that's not even true. He's just lying.
The laws change, of course, then we will adjust our behavior accordingly.
Pronouncing things right is anathema to Hannah. God damn you.
So that's sort of the general approach that we're taking. And now that we have community notes, which, while it's not perfect, I think it's the best fact checking that I've seen on the internet. And so if someone were to post false information, they can be
except when it says something he said isn't true, which happened the other day, in which case he says it's mainstream media somehow botting him.
Community noted.
I didn't show chat the Hartnell, no. My lovely wife took the miniature I have of the Hartnell, which is sort of my old D&D character's TARDIS, if you're familiar with Doctor Who, and added a little LED light where the lamp is. It's so pretty. I love it.
And it's always important to say, like, no fact-checking system is perfect. If perfection is the standard, you can just basically dispense with all fact-checking because nothing will be perfect. But really, it's really how good is the batting average of any fact-checking system. My observation of community notes is that the batting average, the probability that the note is correct is very high. Much.
You're basing that entire, and like, to be clear, generally I think community notes have been okay. They're actually a decent feature when they aren't like fucking weird. but usually they're actually pretty good. But noticeably, Elon will disagree with them all the time when they prove him wrong. So it's weird that he's even saying that.
Better than anything else that I've seen on the internet. And everything in community notes, the code, the data, everything is open source. So you can independently recreate the outcome of any note as a third party. So it's full transparency. So I think that having the community notes capability is a very powerful, it's the most powerful disinformation weapon that I'm, actually.
See, that concerns me though, because the way that community notes work is that it's a voting-based system, and I do not think that voting on what reality is a good way to determine what's true. We all do this a little bit. Like, don't get me wrong, society at large has things that it considers true based on sort of populism. But in terms of fact-checking, I kind of feel like accuracy is more important than people voting on what they think is true.
Combating disinformation.
I agree.
Yeah.
Can I throw something in real quick here? Look, this is why I believe what people were saying and actually questioned and for a little while thought it might not have happened. We were lied to about WMDs in Iraq. We were lied to about anthrax in Iraq. There was Operation Northwoods. There was Operation Northwoods in 2000. ABC News, declassified. The U.S. government planned to stage fake mass shootings and blowing up airlines with people that would take off and would land.
Oh, he's doing the thing. Again.
CIA, and then they would actually just blow up a drone plane and then claim a mass event had happened or claim a mass fake shooting happened. So Jussie Smollett lied about what he did. Hezbollah and
Is that even anywhere near the realm of what you are talking about? Because it feels like that was a non sequitur.
Hamas, Hezbollah ran it, did kill a lot of Israelis, condemned the attack, but it wasn't true that they cut a bunch of kids' heads off. Even the White House and Israel has to admit that. Well, people came out and said they didn't believe that there was proof that Hamas cut heads off. So the establishment view was they did cut heads off. They didn't. So how do we penalize people if somebody wants to believe the earth's flat, they have a right to, and the community notes everybody else.
That doesn't mean you have to give them a platform on Twitter and put them on one of the biggest calls and have everyone listen.
To challenge them, but it's the establishment lying so much that makes people not believe anything, and then they lose faith in everything. I'm actually worried about this because a lot of my audience is so disillusioned. They think I'm an agent or something too. I'm not. So I don't know how we handle this, but I think the government and the media and the think tanks and the PR firms, the propaganda firms, as Elon rightfully said, have been lying professionally so much, they've poisoned the well where no one knows what to believe. They've created a smokescreen. And so I don't know how we deal with that other than getting the...
Alex, I just want to be clear, Hamas does have a habit of cutting off heads. They're quite proud of cutting off heads. This particular circumstance, perhaps there is some uncertainty, but they do cut off a lot of heads, and there's no question about that. And they appear to be quite jubilant. They're quite happy when they cut these heads off.
I don't like Hamas. I don't like the Muslim Brotherhood. I don't like Hezbollah. You're right. That is a hallmark.
They're proud of cutting off heads. Is my observation.
No, and I agree. Yosemite Sam, his hallmark is shooting his guns and a red beard and he's short. Hamas's calling card is cutting off heads. I totally agree, but I'm saying
they do that a lot.
You're right.
Yeah.
Elon, do you mind if I jump in for a second?
Hold on. Yeah, go ahead. Go to you right after.
Yeah, I
I'm going to go to you right after Vivek. Yeah, go ahead, Vivek.
I just wanted to, share one thought in response to Ed's question, which is, let's take the content of whatever speech it was that's issue off the table, kids being shot in schools or otherwise. I think there's two kinds of ways to worry if you're worried about the spread of misinformation or false facts. One is let's deal with the content of the speech itself. And Elon talked about community notes as being imperfect, though it is maybe the best method out there on the internet.
I'm going to skip when Andrew Tate shows up.
Propaganda. And the PR firms have very strong control over the traditional media because that's where journalists go to retire and make tons of money. So there's a very strong monetary incentive for journalists to do what the PR firms say because they know that is where they're going to get rich in the future.
Bingo.
Elon, a question is more for Alex. And Alex, me and Alex were discussing it before you jumped on, is the pressure, if any, that you've faced since reinstating or since you said you'll reinstate Alex. Now, Alex, kind of referred to extreme...
I'm sure this will bring the advertisers back, by the way.
Pressing. I accidentally once in a while we'll go see like Google News or whatever, or Yahoo News or whatever, some random thing, and I'm like, this is just. I mean, frankly, the quality of the propaganda isn't even
There's
good.
a point where Vivek pees on stream without muting.
Look, if you're
kind of funny,
gonna do propaganda, at least make it.
What's it like seeing my show collapse into a Chud conspiracy singularity? Both horrifying and vindicating in equal measure.
Entertaining, and I find it's dull, boring. It's and just not even well written.
Well, that's right. They'll put out one thing and then they all parrot it. It's a dog.
It's like lazy propaganda. It's like work harder.
We've got Andrew Tate here as well. Andrew, how are you? Andrew, your mic, is it working? You got to.
This is gonna be a shit show.
Mute, bottom left corner.
Can you hear me?
We can, yeah. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, friend. I'm in the middle of a poker game, but since this is the battle for humanity against the Satanists with its constant deception of the populace, I thought
Oh, he's just going right off, huh? He didn't even warm into it. Just straight up. Great.
I would jump in and say hello to everybody.
Your thoughts, Andrew? We had your brother on earlier, Tristan come on earlier. Your thoughts on Alex Jones being back on X?
I'd rather hear his thoughts on Elon Musk being the biggest maverick of the last 500 years. I'm not kissing that.
The biggest maverick of the last 500 years. Don't forget the balls, Alex. Don't forget the balls.
That's here, Elon. You've got big ones, man, on every front. You are literally overturning the entire power structure. I was just going to say this and let Andrew get in.
Do I believe in Satan? No, I don't.
But I just want to say this while you're here. I mean, you are literally changing the entire paradigm, and you've definitely got the system scared. And so everybody needs to support X. Everybody needs to support the sponsors on X. I personally am doing all my Christmas shopping this year with all the great gadgets and stuff that are on X. But I'm going to shut up now. But
a lot of people are going to get scammed. Stromboli says, ever see the Norm Macdonald impression of Alex Jones?
This might sound crazy, but
I would imagine instead of talking about Alex Jones, I'd like to hear Andrew Tate talk about or ask questions to Elon Musk.
Yeah, well, Alex is certainly a friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. And
do I know the status of Tate's ongoing legal proceedings? I actually don't. I haven't caught up in it in a long time, so I have no idea.
I'm extremely happy he's back. I've celebrated that publicly, but Alex nailed it. Elon is taking the biggest risk here. It takes unlimited energy to propagate lies. You have to continually repeat them, and you have to continue to try and falsify information and hide the truth to keep lies afloat. And this simple purchase, you call it simple, the purchase of a simple website has literally cracked the matrix in real time, and it becomes extremely difficult now.
It's funny to me when dumb people try to sound smart and they just come off like this.
To run the psyops they were previously running and enslave the populace, which is their primary goal. So Elon is a hero, absolutely. And the risks you are taking, Elon, I don't think many people at home actually understand the gravity of the risks you are taking, because your ability to speak freely is heavily leveraged against your insignificance.
He's still under house arrest. Do we know how long until a trial?
You're only allowed to speak if nobody listens to you. And if you get big and people start listening, they're going to come at you hard. And I think I'm not completely versed.
I mean, if you're doing crime, yeah.
But from what I understand, Elon's already suffering the lawfare tactics, which they're going to do. They're going to keep...
Alex and Tate are incredibly desperate. Like, Elon has one of the only platforms that's primary concern is not making money. His primary concern is his own ego. So he's not making decisions based on, who should be allowed on the site? How consistent should our TOS enforcement be? Instead, because he wants to satiate his own ego and continue to build out his right-wing weird echo chamber, all of these right-wing influencers who can't really get on other platforms easily are all sucking him off because this is their only chance at any sort of future relevance. It's pretty fucked. They're all gonna go down together, though. I don't think that this is a good long-term business strategy, but we'll see. H-Baird says, when it comes to maverickiness, Elon has nothing on John Brown or Harriet Tubman or John McAfee, for fuck's sake. And well, that was his nickname. He wasn't even that mavericky. And Meek says, too long didn't read on Tate's proceedings. More files have been leaked to the public by Bruce Rivers that show that Tate is guiltier than ever. Tate can now roam the country, which he's trying to spin as a win.
Pulling out the hat to try and slow him down or
Andrew, let me interrupt before I forget. I don't give any attention. The same law firm that came after me with these PR firms.
You've just dropped out, I think, Alex.
Just dropped out?
Anyone else can... Yeah, I think he got a call. No, you got a call. Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
There is a 3-letter agency running this. Not all of them, but let's just say it starts with a C and it ends with an A. Sorry, go ahead, Andrew.
Okay, so Alex Jones, in a phone call, just told Elon Musk and Andrew Tate that the CIA is why their lives aren't the way they want them to be. Great. That's not delusional.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always good when a bunch of incredibly delusional, super powerful people with influence and money get together and feed on each other's delusions and paranoias. That always ends well for everyone else.
And there's liberal NGOs which will sponsor agents of the Matrix. They'll sponsor females to end up in a house party and then lie to try and then put you in a Romanian jail cell and get you.
Oh my god, is Andrew trying to claim that the CIA framed him for the sex trafficking? Oh boy.
You sitting with the cockroaches in a dungeon, and it's a very scary world where you get to a point where you're only trying to tell the truth, and they're going to punish you for that using endless lawfare. And this battle has only just begun, but the Matrix has truly cracked now, and it's going to be extremely hard to lie to us like they did before with X, the way it currently is. And I think it came at exactly the right time. I almost, without trying to sound pessimistic, there was a point where I kind of felt like I was losing hope. You couldn't tell the truth about anything.
I wasn't allowed to say my hateful shit. Thanks for providing me a dump to throw all my garbage opinions in.
Thing was a lie. Everything from head to toe was a lie, and they're trying to lock us all back in our houses again, and we can finally talk about it. It's truly heroic, and Elon's taking massive risk, and the respect I have for him for doing that is enormous.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what happened. I'm going to shut up. So I want to hear from Elon, but this is so historic. Elon Musk's courage, and it's true, I'm saying, has broken the back of the globalists. They'll never be able to turn this around again unless they have a nuclear war. Elon Musk has broken their back.
Yeah. Well, I guess some people are afraid to die, but I am not.
And you know what? It's kind of crazy because I was talking to someone the other day and I was explaining, they were asking about my seizure, how they took all my houses, all my money, all my cars, blah, blah. And I said, you never truly own anything on this earth anyway. You can have a piece of paper that says you own it, but if you piss off the government structures, they just get a judge to stamp a different.
Yes, if you commit crimes, your house can be taken away, I guess. It can be seized if you owe the government money for crimes, or if it's used as evidence in a crime or something. Correct. That's always been the case.
Piece of paper and you no longer own it. The only thing you own is your soul and your integrity. And this is the one thing that
you are not in possession of any such object, sir.
They cannot take away from you no matter what they do to you. And that is the best feeling on earth. It doesn't matter if you can sell your soul to the devil and repeat what they want you to say, but then you truly own nothing. And
Yeah,
I think
I
that as history books look back on this pivotal moment when X was finally freed and the information of the world could finally be spoken freely, I really do believe we're on the right side of history. And if you
Do they know 4chan exists? Like, 4chan's been around. If you want to go, like, post terrible, awful things, there's been a place for that. It just isn't sustainable at scale, and it's not a big website because not enough people want to go there, so there aren't enough big advertisers giving it money and making it a sustainable, profitable product. Like, that's a thing. People have tried these kind of spaces on the internet, and they end up being unpopular because people don't like to be fucking harassed and bombarded with bullshit on a daily basis in their social media. People are so sick of this shit, myself included. Hydrate.
were to ask me if there's anything worth dying for, it would be for the freedom of humanity and to be on the right side of history. So I agree with you absolutely. Elon.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just generally in favor of civilization and the furtherance of civilization. And
I'm in favor of civilization. That's why I brought on this alleged sex trafficker to come and talk with me. I'm very intellectual.
And I think we should always be concerned that we can regress as a civilization. And if you study history, you can just see the arc of one civilization after another as the civilizations rise and fall through history. We've been in a period of civilization rising very rapidly, but we should be concerned that we may be cresting, we may subside. And there are many times where I get late stage civilization vibes, and I'm just worried that maybe we're
Vibes. He has late civilization stage vibes.
cresting as a civilization and have set it for a fall. So, yeah.
Well, I agree with you because I truly believe, and a lot of people have said this before me, this is not original idea, but I think as AI and machines and tech increases, a lot of people are going to be deemed useless by the overlords. And then you have to sit and decide, what are they going to do with all these people who have hopes and dreams, and they want healthcare, and they want a garden, and they want a house to live in, and they don't want to be treated like cattle. They're going to become extremely inconvenient. So I don't think many people at home understand that this war cannot be avoided. I've had a lot of people who understand why they threw me in jail in Romania and understood I've done nothing
For sex trafficking. Gitara says, what in Paul's name is this? Is Elon Musk in a Twitter space with Andrew Tate? He is indeed. H-Beard says, I've got to believe that Jordan Peterson feels very slighted that he wasn't invited to this gathering.
wrong.
No former coma patients.
And they said to me, why do you take up this fight? Why you don't just delete your Twitter and disappear and drive a Ferrari all day? And I explained that this war cannot be avoided. You're either on the front line and you're fighting for something, or you're sitting waiting to die. You're waiting for the Mongol horde to come over the horizon and chop your head off.
No, I
There's
totally
way out
agree.
of it.
And just to throw this in there, if you read Elon, I knew you were doing great work. When I saw you 6 months ago at the World Government Summit, where they're all saying we're going to make everybody eat bugs and we'll make the decisions to put microchips in them, and you said, we don't want a centralized system. We want a diverse system. We want firewalls. And I don't agree with this Tower of Babel you're building. They know.
I don't agree with this Tower of Babel you're building.
That we go through cycles, and they want to artificially create a great reset collapse, in their own words, to make everybody else poor, consolidate power.
Those are not in their own words.
And they'll have a smaller type 2 civilization for themselves. And I think you're trying to build a type 2 civilization.
We're not even a type 1 civilization. What the fuck are you talking about?
Or even a type 1 civilization, I should say, for all of us. And
Right.
you said we need to have a debate about going interstellar. We've got to expand or we collapse. And Elon Musk is saying, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't stay in stasis. You either expand or
Correct.
you collapse. They're
Yes,
artificially
exactly.
creating-
You either grow or you collapse. You don't. The steady state is basically an impossibility. So you have to pick it. You have to make a choice.
This just sounds like pretentious dudes who think they're smarter than everyone else, but in fact, they don't have friends not because they're smarter than everyone else, but they're actually just douchebags. But instead of dealing with that, they have to convince themselves that people don't like them because they're just telling the truth. So now that they found each other, they're all gonna just, like, vigorously masturbate. Like, this is so pretentious and bullshit.
Do you want to grow civilization, or do you want to decline and collapse? And because steady state is it's not stable. So, and I say we grow, and I say we expand, and we have more humans, and we become a multi-planet species and a spacefaring civilization, and ultimately be
Wow, you say that? Good, Elon. You say we should do that? Great. Helpful. You're such a genius.
out there among the stars. And I think that is the exciting, inspiring thing for the future. Not a declining human civilization that dwindles to nothingness and where humanity dies with a whimper.
And that's the bottom line. I think it is the battle of people who believe in humans and humanity and want it to expand against people who are so selfishly going through the earth and so selfishly oriented that they don't care about expanding civilization. They just want to control the humans that are currently here.
And Andrew, I totally agree with you. I totally agree. Let me throw this caveat on it because I've read the writings of Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab and the Club of Rome. They know we could easily expand. There's plenty of room. Hundreds of billions.
There isn't enough resources currently, though. No, what don't you understand? This whole population thing, they'll be like, but there's so much empty land. Okay, is there ample fresh water? Are there resources to build things, buildings, homes, infrastructure? Does it have power? Are we going to generate power? Are you going to generate literally anything you need to survive? It's not about land. It's about land you can live on and survive on.
Galaxies.
They're so fucking stupid.
They know that this is just a seed that's going to not just grow into one giant oak, but an entire forest, an entire universe. And so they want to shut everybody else down because they can't deal with competition. Elon Musk that come out of the general public, they want a global tyranny so they can direct it and control it so that they direct the expansion. And we can't let that happen because they literally talk about it in Agenda 20, the official UN plan, a 90% world population. So we need to go with the Elon Musk plan. And that's why I tell people that
there is no Elon Musk plan. It's not a plan to say, I think we should go into space like in movies I've seen. You know, Star Trek, let's do that. That's not a plan. That's something a 12-year-old thinks is cool. That's not a plan. What do you think a plan is?
They go, Elon Musk is involved in every advancing technology. The globalists are pushing that too. Well, technology is like a gun. It's whose hand it's in. And so we need the gun in the people's hands, the gun of expansion, instead of in the globalist hands. And so just because Elon Musk is on the cutting edge of every technology, don't fear the...
Profane Priestess says, he was in the interview and he cut the quote off to laugh about how... Wait, what? Was there first messages? There it was, okay. What bothers me about Elon is his pseudo-intellectualism. I have so much respect for people who do the deeply important kind of work Elon only plays with the idea of. What first made me despise him was when he was discussing Carl Sagan's Pale Blue Dot speech, excerpt linked above, but it's long so I don't feel obligated to read. He was in the interview, and he cut the quote off to laugh about how Sagan was wrong and we could go to Mars. The entire point of the Pale Blue Dot speech is that both Earth and humanity are fragile and precious. It is imperative to protect them, and he butchered the quote so we could posture as an intellectual while directly disagreeing with it. He claims intellect but possesses none and does not desire to learn. I despise him. It is incredibly frustrating watching people who basically talk like college freshmen who think they know everything, but they're powerful people like Elon Musk. It's gross and creepy. Lance is trying to love herself says, so nice of X to sponsor a free, shittier version of InfoWars without remuneration.
The technology, like some troglodytes, fear us not being in control of it. And Elon is saying we need it to be an expansionary human explosion of competition and freedom, not some new dark age with a tiny breakaway civilization that's only working for itself. Sorry, I'm ranting.
No, but you're completely right, because if Elon doesn't push these boundaries, they will push these boundaries. And once they have the sole control and the monopoly over such technologies, it's over for all of us. And I don't think most people understand. It simply is the humanistic view against the death cult view. And there's people in the world who have they have no interest in growing humanity, no interest in advancing the species as a whole. Their interest is in power.
Renewable energy, making sure we deal with social issues, getting people health care and rights. These are advancements. Advancement doesn't mean building a big rocket that goes boom. It means making life better for other people. And that can certainly include, and does usually include, technological progress. But this weird idea you have of some sort of technocracy, where, like, we'll be driven primarily by advances in rocketry and my fucking tech or whatever. That's not good. That's not a good way to structure society. What are you talking about?
Power and control, and all they want to do is have absolute power over the people that currently exist. And you can talk about all the perverse reasons they want to do those exact things, but it's truly scary. And all the people at home who don't really understand the gravity of this fight, they seem to think it's right wing, left wing.
Yes, exactly. Don't think about it the wrong way. Sorry, I just got a little X here. You're totally exactly. This right left is the wrong way to think about it. It's the sort of the extinctionists versus the pro-humans. And once you see that it's extinctionists versus the
there are almost no people who are extinctionists, or I think what he's trying to say is antinatalists would be the actual word. There are not that many.
The pro-humans.
That's not what you're fighting against. You're fighting against people who are interested in social progress and making sure that our species survives on Earth, and not your weird fantasy of being a moon or Mars king.
It becomes very clear.
So, Elon, when are you going to, I know you got 100 irons to the fire, but I've really, when you talk about we need to create a plan B for humanity, well, that's really
no, it's not a plan B. I mean, I think
an alternate master plan, because the globalists are controlled right now. You're trying to wrest control with us.
There is no current master plan.
Us helping. I mean, when are you going to put out your battle plan, or are you already putting it out in pieces?
No,
this is what happens when dumb people read Atlas Shrugged. So anyone who liked Atlas Shrugged.
I mean, what I'm saying is that actually, I think we should expand humanity. Like, basically, we should have basically more kids. Yeah, with population.
Oh God, Elon, fuck off. Sassy P with $100 super chat says, money for more tinfoil hats. I worry yours will wear out with all this nonsense. Thank you very much. That'll add a costume day. So tomorrow we'll be wearing a costume. Join the Discord if you would like to vote on the costume I wear tomorrow. Thank you very much, Sassy P. That was incredibly generous of you. That's the biggest donation I've gotten in a while. Thank you.
And we should become a multi.
It still feels weird when I get big donations. It feels really nice, but strange too.
multi-planet species and make life multiplanetary, build a self-sustaining civilization on Mars, and then ultimately
That's not a thing that's going to happen in your or my lifetime, Elon. If that ever happens, it's hundreds and hundreds of years away. Even if tomorrow we had a rocket that we could take to Mars easily, we still wouldn't have some sort of self-sustaining colony, and it would take hundreds of years to make that happen.
this will be long after I'm dead.
Yes, we still need to do the new costume poll.
Probably, but well, almost certainly we can go to other star systems and go out there and I don't know, maybe we'll find some long dead alien civilizations. And I don't think we want to be one of those lame one planet civilizations that never got beyond its own planet. I mean, we
don't even know if there is life elsewhere, and he's talking like we're in fucking Star Trek. It's so weird. Fenekagami says, today my family laid to rest my great-uncle, a farmer who worked for the federal government as a chemist. In the 70s, he pioneered environmental regulations by going to 35 bases in 5 years to argue with career Army people that we need to be more environmentally friendly. His team accurately predicted a lot of progress, and their work is still cited in regulations to this day. Work like his is why the bald eagle is no longer an endangered species, which was his favorite animal. Oh, that's so nice. Gitara says, the same people who push the AI art, in quotes, and Gen AI stuff talk exactly like this. They think AI is the only path forward for humanity. They believe this to the point of vilifying anyone who isn't deep-throating AI developers on Twitter as anti-progress or Luddites. This just proves the tech bro space has no original ideas. Tech bros are garbage. They genuinely have this weird myopic view of the world, and only the solutions that they easily come to are the right ones. Everyone else just doesn't get it. It's a very strange, self-centered, self-aggrandizing worldview. Go for it, Demibird.
The aliens gonna think of that. It's like we gotta make a good showing. Team Human. Let's go.
And that would
unless you're trans, then Elon Musk says fuck you, I guess.
Absolutely, that would be certainly disappointing. But it's essential, and truthfully, it's so amazing we'd even speak about these things. Only 2 years ago, you couldn't even speak about these subjects, but it's so pertinently obvious to anyone who pays attention, and it is scary. And expansion and humanistic views are certainly the way to progress, and it has to be done. There's no other way, just like a business.
Andrew Tate, alleged sex trafficker, is advocating for humanism. What the fuck does he think that word means?
Just like you guys said, if you stand still, you die. And it takes a few brave people to break the matrix. You have to break the dam. And I think bravery is so important because it puts a crack in the dam, and it shows that if there's people out there brave enough to risk getting canceled, risk lawfare, then it's going to inspire bravery amongst the rest of the populace. And it becomes extremely hard to lie to brave. And I think that's one of the largest pandemics of Earth today is bravery. And when I say bravery, I don't mean that.
Pandemic? A pandemic of bravery? That would mean everyone's brave, you idiot. I think you meant the opposite. Lance is trying to love herself, says the Luddites may have had a point. They were concerned about the march of technology affecting labor.
Any kind of negative connotation. Bravery is being full of love and loving the people around you and sticking up for your community and loving where you live and loving your country. And it's brave to do those things. And it's love.
What do the globalists teach us? Children are bad. We're ugly. Humans create all this racial division. They want us to hate each other.
Humans do that, but that doesn't mean that's the only thing humans do. Trying to ignore bad parts of humans is not good. That's just going to make you repeat bad actions of the past.
So we just give up, roll over, so the globalists can have the future.
I would just like to say here.
The globalists are short-sighted too, because the thing is that you can't really separate yourself from civilization. So I think those who are sort of advocating, it's really, I think it's just logical to be pro-civilization. You don't actually necessarily have to be altruistic. You just have to think long-term and say, obviously you cannot exist in a good way without civilization. I mean, just watch one episode of Naked and Afraid and see how much you want to go live in a forest by yourself.
We're in a super pivotal moment now. And the reason we're in a pivotal moment is because the machines cannot do the policing as of yet. My brother and I often talk about how bad COVID would have been if they had Terminator machines. You didn't have your mask on. You couldn't even appeal to the empathy of the person who knew how insane it all was.
If someone let you not wear a mask, it wasn't because of empathy, I assure you.
As soon as the machines control the policing, it's absolutely over. And we're not that far away. So
Atheist Brony says, just something I noticed, how many women are in this conversation we're listening to? None that I can see.
We're in a very pivotal period now where the bravery that's required to resist the globalist oppression has to happen now. Soon the
I
technology
absolutely
will exist, and it's
I am
over for everybody.
We are at critical crossroads right now in the entire future of the human destiny, and I called it Plan
Hats
B.
off. What do you want me to wear? Gregory term.
But I mean, Elon, what do you call it? Just an alternate plan for humanity? Because we should have a debate because the Black Rock.
Okay, someone needs to mute themselves. Like, who in this conversation's kid is fucking talking?
Globalists are right now in control. If they were 100% control, you and others have felt rested to maybe they're in 80% control. They're losing control very quickly as people discover what they're doing. But what would you call the debate and discussion about a pro-human future? Just team humanity?
Yeah, team humanity. Absolutely. That sounds
agree.
good. But I think like something that is really important is like you just literally have to have kids or there's no next generation.
Elon has a ton of kids, but he doesn't give a shit about them. I'd be shocked if he was in the same room with any of his children.
Do you have kids?
Yes, I do. I'm not as prolific as you, but I wish I was.
I'm not as prolific as
Best thing of my
you.
life.
Way to come in lots of people, Elon.
I have 4.
Okay, great. And
Thanks,
Andrew?
birthday flowers.
I do have a few. I won't let you down, Elon. I'm coming. I'm
Okay,
coming
good.
to take over your title. I'm coming to take over. I'm doing my best. You know, I gotta use my good looks for something.
Well, I think we ought to encourage people to have kids.
And this is the bottom line argument.
If you want to get people to have kids, then you need to pay them better. People need to have more resources, and it needs to be easier to live and pay for groceries and fuel and electricity and housing. Then people will have kids. Not everyone, but more people.
What is so important? We just talked about how the globalists are ultimately selfish and only care about.
Most of the globalists don't have children.
And
Of course, what the fuck are you talking about? The enemy that they've made up in their head that is the quote-unquote globalists. Who is this they're even talking about? I know who they're talking about. They're conspiracy theorists. But you know what I mean. Like, in their head, the way that they have come up with this is just they've created this evil golem to put all of their negative perceptions into and, like, attribute it to a group of people. It's disgusting.
Because they're selfish.
Here's the thing, you guys are all attacking the globalists, but if you ask a globalist, like I have friends who I would consider globalists, you ask them, their ideologies are aligned that they believe that somebody living across
It's possible to tell whose kid's in the call with all the deadbeat
the
dads.
world is just as valuable as somebody who lives in America. And I know, there's
They've already
arguments-
enslaved the third world, and then
that's not how everybody who you would categorize as
no, you're right. There's a lot of
globalist-
useful idiot globalists.
that's not-
Globalists at the top are depopulationists. That's their religion.
So maybe if you want to look at the top, you can say globalists at the top. Some of them might have that view. But, if you just talk to an ordinary person who views themselves as a globalist, they're not saying, oh, I'm evil. They're not an evil person. They just have this belief that every human being around the globe is equal. That's
I would
all
call
they're
that an
saying.
internationalist. That's an internationalist.
No.
Globalist wants one world government run by corporations.
Yeah.
No, they don't. What are you? That's a definition you pulled out of your assholes. And also, hello, you're filleting Elon Musk on his fucking platform that he bought for $40 billion. You're talking about this with rich people.
I mean, I think you can label them differently, but I think it's
Fenekagami says, my point is, fuck these guys and everything they stand for. A literal farmer from Maryland rose through the ranks of the government to the point where he was appointed head coordinator of the Army to the Maryland Department of Environment when a massive acid spill from the proving grounds needed to be cleaned up. My uncle had more of a positive impact on our world than all these guys combined, and he was a farmer who at the end would talk your ear off about farming. Yes. People like this like to pretend they're important because they haven't done anything except really shitty things.
If you talk to somebody...
Well, Henry Kissinger was a globalist. Victor Brzezinski was a globalist. I'm not trying to be mean to you, but their number one rule is the earth is too small. We can't expand. We've got to bean count and put everybody on rations. We've got to social engineer and end the normal human program because humans are failed. They want to turn us into factory farm humans. Those are allowed to survive.
I'm just making shit up.
I'll answer the question.
Sorry, guys. If I can just say, like, some of these titles are a little confusing. If someone's an internationalist or a globalist, I think what can achieve some disambiguation here is to say, like, does someone have as an axiomatic belief that there are too many people on the earth, or do they not? Do they believe that the earth can sustain the current population, or do they think it cannot? Now, the reality is earth can actually handle a human population probably 10 times larger than the current population.
What? Did you just say you think that 80 billion people could live on Earth? Not with the, no, you could not comfortably have 80 billion people live on Earth. I believe the current understanding of what the carrying capacity for the Earth is between 10 and 12 billion. So you would need breakthroughs in basically every single technology, science, everything to make that even a little feasible. That is such a nonsense statement. This is so much about his cream pie fetish. I don't even know what to say about it. Elon Musk just wants an excuse to hit it raw. It's weird. Gregory Term says, I'll take things I pulled out of my ass for 500.
Earth is actually very sparsely populated by humans. We only see density because if we're in a
Oh my god, they're literally only talking about population density. They think they're smart and they're not even thinking about resource allocation. Holy shit.
dense urban environment like New York or Boston, London, or something like that. But if
Becca with a $5 super chat says, hi Hannah, big cringe for whatever this call is, but I'm here for it. Well, welcome and thank you for the support.
here would be like a good test. If you took a plane from LA to New York and you try to drop a bowling ball and hit somebody, your chances of success.
Okay, human beings can't live shoulder to shoulder. We need to, oh my god.
Success are basically zero.
You'd have to drop 10,000 bowling balls, maybe.
Yes. You just.
We need to get people shoulder to shoulder. The Earth will not truly be ours until you literally can't walk anywhere because there's people in every square foot of the planet.
I'll tell you sort of something that
this is wild.
May scare people a little bit, is that there are thousands of objects falling onto Earth from space all the time. But how often do you hear about someone actually getting hit by falling by meteor?
Most things fucking burn up in the atmosphere, Elon. Shouldn't you know that?
Right.
Absolutely. There's one known case of a woman with her house getting hit by one.
Elon, I want to just respond to Ed actually for a second, because again, when it comes, I think it's good to get a good counter view here. I think that there's two different things going on, Ed, and I know what you're trying to say. There's a separate point about your obligations, right? So you can, and I believe everything has been said about the importance of expansionism for humanity being pro-civilization, and expansion pro-human race to win. That's like a separate axis, though, from saying where are your obligations where you are, right? So we talked about procreation and family. Then we talked about the nation. Well, look, I have two kids. As a father, my moral obligation, I believe, is first and foremost to my family. And then, let's say, as a president, my moral obligation is to the citizens of the nation that I lead. And then you can worry about hunger in the Congo or whatever else needs to happen in the Darfur or in other places. And so I don't think that you're saying necessarily that life...
Charity begins at home.
Exactly. And that's not saying that life abroad is any less valuable inherently. And so when you say like the globalist view is that all it's saying is that all life is equal wherever it is on Earth, it's not like I think the view, an alternative view is countering that. There's also just a separate place in terms of where you're situated. Where's your obligation? Right? As a father, it's to your family. As a president, it's to your country.
Unless you're Elon Musk, then your kids can go fuck themselves,
and
especially if they're trans.
Because you believe that's the hierarchy of your obligations means somebody else is the leader of one of those other countries. And that's an obligation that they have too, but that's like a different discussion.
That implies that countries exist as independent entities that don't exist as part of, like, historical inertia. Like, what about countries that historically have had, like, resources and time to develop stolen from them through other countries coming in and colonizing them for centuries or decades? Don't you feel some sort of obligation to that? Also, if you don't have an understanding of soft power, you have no business being the president. We don't just give money to other countries for funsies like hugs and kisses. Like, as much as I am a person who wants other countries and other people to get help, like, I would like everyone who needs things to get them. That's obviously not something we can have, but, like, I want people to get support. I want people to have healthcare, education, etc. We don't just give money to other countries out of the goodness of our hearts. It's because it is a way of expressing power politically. If other countries depend on, or at least enjoy, getting money from you, It gives you leverage in negotiation. It gives you leverage on the global stage. And if you don't understand that, what are you doing running for president? What are you doing? Steakum, thanks for gifting us up.
Liberals, the neoliberals in their own PR, they're the ones doing the worst things on the earth. They just say, oh, we want global government because we want to give Africa's representation. Then they lock them down for 3 years and starve 30 million of them to death and then organize them to flood us as a political underclass. This is cold-blooded Henry Kissinger State Department Memorandum 200. I mean,
it's not black and white.
I think it's two different conversations.
Wait, can we just? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Andrew. Go ahead, Andrew, and then we'll go to Dave. Andrew.
What I do believe is black and white is simply, if you read a history book, you'll see the worst things that humanity have ever done have been done with good intention.
If you read a history book and got a black and white view out of it, you are reading a dogshit history book or you are illiterate.
That's what's so bad about evil acts, is that people
Road
think
to
they're
hell.
doing the right thing. And that's the most dangerous thing about it. And this idea that they look at all human life as sacred and all the same, I actually disagree. I think the reason they will prioritize people in a third world country, for example, you'll say it's because they see us as equal. I think it's because they see us now as spoiled and annoying. They don't like that we need pensions and living space and healthcare. They simply want slaves and a robot class, and they'll do anything it takes to get it, and they'll get it from anywhere they can. And when someone comes along and says, well, my intentions are good, I'm not interested in that, because you can name any Holocaust or any atrocity in history that people didn't think they were the bad guys. They often thought they were the good guys. And I guess the easy way to look at life is you want to be having as many children as possible. You want to pray other people do the same, and you want those people to enjoy freedom.
What is their obsession with having literally as many children as possible? This is a common thread throughout this conversation, and I've never thought about that. Does this have something to do conservatives have some, like, underlying fear about progeny? Like, what is this? I've never heard a conversation like this where they continually bring up having as many children as possible constantly. This is very strange.
Freedom, and anyone who's coming along restricting speech, restricting access to certain things, restricting movement, all they're doing is trying to restrict so they can control. And nobody in a history book ever who did that either was the good guy. I think it's very clear to see who's on the right side of history and who isn't. And
Quiverful is specifically Christian nationalist, which this is not.
Advocate freedom for everybody.
At least not for all of them.
I disagreed with absolutely everything Alex said. I'd still be glad he's back on X. And these people can't even handle.
Tate isn't even a white guy, though.
Still a different.
Neither is Vivek Ramsey.
Opinion. Do you think they're going to allow?
So saying white genocide, like, conspiracies, part of the answer for some people, probably Elon Musk on some level, but that doesn't answer it broadly.
People have a different opinion to them to share water or share food or share anything else once they
And the reason they don't want another opinion is they want to misrepresent what Elon Musk or Andrew Tate or Vivek Ramaswamy or any of. I'm telling you, they want us silenced so they can lie about what we said.
Ramaswamy thing.
I agree with you.
I have a quick Jackson. I'm going to go to you right after Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, I agree that with you there. I think that a lot of the media and a lot of these platforms do want to silence voices because they want their voice to be heard louder. So yeah, I definitely hear you there. I definitely don't. As when it comes to globalists, I think, you know, it's not black and white. You're not either a globalist or you're not. I think people fall in between, and there's different reasons for why people might feel one way about one, you know, you could say globalist idea and another. So I mean, I don't like painting people like, you know, with a black and white pen, because I feel that everybody falls somewhere in the middle.
All I know is this, that there are people that want a corporate world government.
Oh my God, this is the part where he's peeing. I couldn't hear it in the other headphone.
Whose aim is depopulation, not giving the general public access to technology.
Presidential candidate, peas, more at 11.
Resources, and literally saying carbon dioxide that plants breathe is evil, and then telling us the world's going to end in 2030 and the ice caps are all going to melt, and none of that's true. So our children basically give up on the future, decide not to have children. That's all I'm saying. And Elon Musk is promoting an optimistic, pro-human future that the science and evidence shows is real and that we need.
Gentlemen,
Mormons and Catholics and other evangelicals feel compelled by the commandments to be fruitful and multiply. I'm less looking for I'm not looking for a scriptural or cultural answer. I'm more looking for a psychological one, because we're all subject to certain, like, societal narratives. Most people in the United States grow up with some sort of religious background, even if it's only vague and just people in their community believe it. They at least hear it, and they don't attach themselves to this messaging or have it come up this often. So I'm more thinking on a personal basis, why do Elon Musk, Andrew Tate, these right-wing individuals have an obsession with having a bunch of children, having more and more people? There is some underlying psychological feeling that they are having, an anxiety, a desire. I don't know what it is, but something is causing that to be the focus of their, like, conscious desire, and I don't know what it is. Meek says, in the case of Tate, breeding shows sexual prowess? Could be. Someone else says, desperate need to be seen as dominant? That could certainly be a thing.
Yeah, I just want to be sort of exactly. I want very clear.
H-Bird says, I went to a high school with a black man who's the son of Central American immigrants, and he quotes great replacement talking points. He thinks he's included by these people and doesn't understand he's the person they're against. Fenekagami says, it probably, in these guys' case, has to do with their obsession with legacy. Bloodline shit is common with fascists, and family is a power structure to these people. These guys are weirdly controlling about families, so I think it's more legacy and power structures together as the source of their breeding kink. I could see that.
About my position. I'm super pro-human, and I mean all humans. You know, humans in America, humans
Somebody's got
Africa, and everywhere else.
their phone open in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's Vivek. Vivek, that's your phone, Vivek. I'm not able to mute you. Vivek, go ahead, Elon.
Sorry about that. Mind occupied so they can.
All right. I think that's enough of this conversation. We were only halfway through, but I need a break from that bullshit. We need to find some other bullshit. Oh god, this sucks. When I can, check out Philosophy Tube's newest. Okay.
So today I would like to talk about mental illness and the link to demonic possession. I would like to talk about the connection between mental illness and
This is that anti-vegan lady. She doesn't like trans people. She doesn't like vegans. She doesn't like quote-unquote globalists. You get it. Same shit. Different day.
mind control. As you know, I made the channel change of not pigeonholing myself into one topic.
Yeah, she's not gonna hate veganism. Now she's also gonna hate trans people and all sorts of other groups.
I think that everything is connected. Everything is so obviously connected. And I would just like to...
That's a red flag. Conspiratorial thinking involves drawing lines where they don't exist between disparate facts, if you even want to call them that, if they are facts.
Bring more focus to the hypnotic mind control that is being induced upon society, our reality.
Wow, she lives by an airport. Holy shit.
Our entire reality.
I feel like that's not a good combo, being paranoid and conspiratorial and living by an airport where there's constantly planes flying above you. That probably exacerbates issues.
Is manipulated by the media, by Hollywood, by music, and I also want to make a point on the connection between mental illness and demonic possession. It's just completely obvious that they're programming you. It's just completely obvious that they're using sigil magic, witchcraft, mind control, whatever term you would like to use, which they're all just umbrella terms for the same thing. I suggest we turn off our TVs, we turn off movies, stop watching movies, stop listening to music, stop reading books.
Cut yourself off from every source of information from the outside world. Withdraw into your delusions. See how comfortable it is? This is very unhealthy. This is not good.
Especially for a while, so that you can disconnect from all that and realize
that's that dog's house. He owns it now.
That you don't need to distract yourself from God's creation, from God's reality, because all of those forms of entertainment are simply idolatry, and
idolatry.
It's really never there to help you. I really do think that these forms of entertainment are there to oppress us and hold us back in life, to manipulate us and to control our thoughts, our actions. Now, that's not to say that I don't believe that good can't come out of watching these movies, that you can't, you know, watch a movie and get your own take from it. But the fact is that they have multiple storylines within movies. And I used to think it was just David Lynch or like Stanley Kubrick and people, the directors who like knew about the esoteric symbolism. I thought it was just them who would put multiple storylines and have a face value story and then the second value story and then just like multiple meanings of the story.
Okay, so she's describing something having subtext. The vast majority of art has subtext, even if it is not intentional. Art can have subtext that you read into it. And she thinks this is a conspiracy. That's not a conspiracy, that's literally how human art works. Part of our conception of the universe not only involves objects and things, but symbols. Our world, our reality, is sort of a combination of the things we see, the things we feel, and also the symbols we understand. These are things that are taught to us culturally. This is called the symbolic order, as Lacan put it. So, like, knowing that a red plus sign means medical or medicine or healing, that's something that's part of your symbolic order, right? The idea that stories have meanings that are more than just the surface level, but that they have subtext and maybe metaphor, that's part of the symbolic order, is the fact that you know that. For whatever reason, she doesn't understand that, and therefore thinks that messages being hidden, air quotes, is a conspiracy as opposed to just how art is constructed and consumed. That's a shame. That's a shame. Fedenkagami says, Hannah, how do you feel about being left out of leftist creator who need more attention conversations? Every time people make these lists, I never see you mentioned and get tempted to recommend you. However, these circles attract a lot of drama, and I wanted to ask because I know how much you try to avoid drama. I would love to be mentioned more. I just wish my show got more views and stuff in general. So feel free to mention me. Feel free. Mention me everywhere. Recommend me to other creators. Have them raid me. Annoy them. Whatever you have to do. I'm joking. Don't harass or annoy people. But if it does come up, yeah, bring me up. I'd love to get more exposure and all that stuff. Exmo Jimbo, thanks for 39 months.
In one movie, it's all of the directors, it's all the storytellers, it's all the movies. They all have multiple meanings. They all have a face value meaning, the main storyline, and then they all have the subliminal programming.
It's not subliminal, it's subtext. It's the story is telling other than the plot. Stories have themes. Those themes are often told in subtext. Not always. The themes peek into the text itself, but often they're, again, in subtext. That's fine. That's not a conspiracy. That's just how art works.
Story. And then they just have multiple different allegories in every single one. So ultimately, you'll start noticing that when you're watching these movies and listening to this music, is that they're using hypnosis, they're using riddles, they're using mind control to subdue you and to influence your thought, to influence your actions. So I do believe in that all art is used as propaganda. All art can be used and will be used as propaganda. But that
No, propaganda, having subtext is not the definition of propaganda, and I don't know why she thinks that. Exmo Jimbo, thanks for 39 months.
It doesn't take away. I'm not going to deny beauty. I'm not going to deny God's gorgeous creations by just saying that every single...
Rick M says, again, lack of media literacy. It's not even... I've been thinking about this. It's not just a lack of media literacy. It's worse than that. This isn't a lack of media literacy as much as it is a lack of understanding that media literacy even exists. It'd be one thing for someone to know, oh, things have subtext, I'm just bad at reading them. That's being like illiterate, right? In terms of media. Not even knowing that's a thing, that's a step beyond media illiteracy. That's a completely different thing, and it's even worse. It's not good. Again, this is foreclosure. Like I've said, I'm annoying, and I talk about the things I've been reading lately, and lately I've been reading Lacan. So it feels very much like his concept of foreclosure. It's not just that she doesn't know something, it's that she doesn't even know the thing she doesn't know. It's quite bad. She's missing something from her version of the symbolic order. Her entire conception of the world itself and how it works is broken.
Single piece of art and every song ever written and every piece of literature ever written is a form of mind control.
What am I reading right now? Read Suspicious Minds a while back, which is pretty good. I'm in the middle of Political Paranoia. This is by Robbins and Post. And then on my Audible, I've been reading, or listening, because it's an Audible audiobook. I gotta find the specific one. Audible. It's about the work of Lacan. It is... maybe I wasn't listening on Spotify. Was I listening somewhere else? I can't remember the name of the book, but I'll find it when I can.
Because it's obvious that...
So she needs to learn to walk before she can run? Yes.
I am not a programmer. I am not, trying to mind control the masses, but yet my programming will come out in my music. My programming will come out when I make videos and stuff. And if you know anything about music, you know that...
By the way, I also know I pronounce it weird. He's French, so I know it's supposed to be like Jacques Lacan. I know. I'm American, though, so I'm going to say Lacan. Just like I say croissant. I know it's wrong.
Is on this negative frequency. We're supposed to be using a certain type of frequency. We're supposed to be using a certain type of tuning. I forget what it's called. A something, something, something. That... These frequencies are healing frequencies that are supposed to help ease your mind, help soothe your soul.
Again, the frequency thing. You've seen this so much more in the language of conspiracies. The frequency thing. We've made jokes about it. But it clearly is something that's like big on these people because they all use it. It's all vibes. Good vibes. Hydrate. Can do.
Spirit, calm you down, heal you. The music frequencies that everybody is addicted to, the music frequencies that and the tuning that we're all listening to is all negative, hypnotic frequencies that...
No, it's not. The frequency of music, A, is not all the same, and B, is not a subliminal message trying to trick you into anything.
Are like used to make you more open and susceptible to the programming and the mind control or the script that they're trying to get you to convince you to believe in. Not only that, but the actual frequencies that are in the music, the sounds that are in the music are like negative frequencies that
This is the plot to the Josie and the Pussycats movie.
Make you feel a certain way, that manipulate your emotions. So a lot of these songs, they want you to feel sad.
That's not... Again, yes, art makes you feel things, whether it's music or movies or a book or a video game. Art should make you feel things. Not every piece of art makes everyone feel things, or even the same thing. But the point of art is to express feelings, generally, or to make you think about something. So that's not manipulation, that's not a conspiracy, it's not propaganda, it's literally the purpose of art. A song making you sad isn't a magic spell or hypnosis, it's your human brain listening to another thing a human made and being affected by it. Because we have empathy and can understand the messages being sent by others symbolically through things like songs.
They want you to feel depressed and get into this melancholy mood. But when you listen to mainstream lyrics especially, and you realize that all of the lyrics are simply there to put you under a state of hypnosis.
No, they're not.
Then you realize that it's not just to like, that the sad songs are not just to make you sad, but they're to help change your mind, to help change your perspective, to help mold your mind into what the programmers want it to be. I don't know if any of you actually remember Pandora, but Pandora was addicting. And it really, I do remember it putting me into like sad, depressive states. And so it turned out that not only were they just playing those songs, those special songs to make you depressed, but they were actually adding binary beats and frequencies that aren't audible to...
She means binaural, I assume?
The conscious, you know, like you can hear them but subconsciously. And so...
Nope. Atheist Brony says, that's right when Rage Against the Machine says, fuck you, I won't do it, you tell me. They're trying to make you into a mindless robot.
I remember whenever I was listening to Pandora that I would get depressed. And I would just have to turn that shit off. But
Stop listening to sad music then. That's on you.
I didn't even realize that that's what they're doing. And so in the...
That's not what they were doing.
The movies, hello, the soundtrack. And if you... It's just really annoying and super cringe. When, especially if you're not like completely enthralled into the story and into the characters and they haven't caught you, you know, they haven't captivated your mind and you're just watching something that is just completely bogus, straight up mind control, straight up programming, all these pathetic riddles, and then they're using these like violins to manipulate your emotions, you know? So it's... Music is a weapon. I used to love listening.
It's interesting. It seems like she's watching movies and doesn't understand what's going on in the movies, either textually or subtextually, and therefore assumes it's nefarious. So when music cues hit in the movie that are supposed to go along with the emotion the movie is making you feel, if you don't understand the movie, don't understand the underlying messages, what's going on, the characters, their motivations, you're gonna wonder what the fuck is this music for, because you're not on the same page as the emotions of the script, right? It's gonna feel manipulative because you don't feel that way. So you're gonna be like, this is bullshit, not understanding that normally if you were watching it and understood what was going on and were able to follow it and like whatever, it wouldn't feel manipulative, it would feel complementary to the emotion being served to you by the other elements of the film, the plot, the acting, whatever. But because she lacks an understanding of that, which is my speculation, it seems like she views the music as an element she doesn't understand why it's there, and therefore assumes in a paranoid way that it must be nefarious. Interesting.
Listening to Black Sabbath, and I would think it was a joke, like them calling Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath satanic. But now I'm like, maybe there's something to that. I remember one song that I couldn't listen to because he's like screaming to God, oh God, please help me. And I just didn't, I didn't vibe with that. And I already liked Black Sabbath. I was totally into Ozzy, you know, old school Ozzy and old school Black Sabbath, that I just kind of ignored that feeling that it gave me when I heard Ozzy screaming to God, please help me, you know, like I just ignored that. It was just theatrics, it's acting, but that's what MK Ultra mind control is. That is what MK Ultra programming is.
MK Ultra was a program that was a failure. We know about it because it failed and later became declassified. I know I was muted. I was talking to my wife.
And that's what they do to these actors. They black swan them. They believe it's like the Joker, you know? Like you can consciously lie all you want, but sooner than later, the lies start becoming the truth and you start believing the damn lies. Like Jim Carrey lost himself playing Andy Kaufman, the Joker, all of them.
I don't think he really did. I think he lied about that. I don't think that's true.
Lost themselves. Every actor who played the Joker apparently lost themselves playing this character. And you just see it in movies. You see it, there's a movie called Possession, and it has the same guy from The Mouth of Madness in it. The guy that...
Sam Neill.
What is his name? Anyway.
Sam Neill.
The main actress in Possession has a full-on mental breakdown on camera. And I don't care if she's inducing it, if she's pretending, if she's acting. That shit was demonic. That was absolutely...
It's acting. It's called acting. That's acting. It's not demonic. Dr. Gamble says, what is method acting for 200?
Horrific to see and to witness. And I had to fast forward through that, and I was like, I can't listen to this. Like, this is psychotic. Like, she made me sick. She sounded like... Actors make me fucking sick. They are so pathetic to me. You know, like, the only way...
It seems like strangely placed anger.
It's even okay is because they're giving a part of themselves and they're so stupid that they don't realize that their subconscious can't tell the difference between you know, you triggering this consciously by, you know, opening up a wound and making yourself cry on camera and having a nervous breakdown on camera by letting yourself go, by letting yourself reach those limits, which is absolute mental illness, you know? Like, actors are straight up mentally ill. And
strange projection. Again, is this hostility coming from a place of she doesn't understand acting and what it is and why it exists? Obviously, she knows it's like people pretending to do something for money. But it feels like similar to not understanding the subtext of art and that it is prevalent everywhere and not nefarious. It feels like she fails to understand the motivations of actors and actresses. And for whatever reason, that scares her, and that fear and anxiety turned into this weird hostility towards them. Freeline says, I am fascinated by how detached this woman is from her emotions. She just can't understand why she's feeling things when she listens or watches to art, and it scares her. Yes, that's a good way to put it. Excited for Daryl from Vinegar Syndrome? I ordered it. I pre-ordered it a while back when it was announced, so I hope it's good.
And everybody wants to sit there and act like they're normal and they're so talented. It's like, no, they have to compartmentalize. This isn't some woo-woo shit. This is like...
It is woo-woo.
Literal mind control. They have to believe, make themselves believe whatever they're saying, whatever...
I mean, that would depend upon if they're using, like, the method or something else. Some people need to get into character and really feel like they're the character. Other people who act just act. They don't need to pretend in their head they're that person. They can just proficiently know, okay, if I was this person, this is how I would be acting. They don't need to personify it as much as they can just perform it. Others need to get into that headspace. So no, not all actors use the method. And often when you hear stories about it, it's people doing it obnoxiously, like Jared Leto.
Their script is. They have to make themselves to believe it.
Stringed instruments tend to hit our brains button stronger for some unknown reason.
And that is terrible. That is mental illness, to allow yourself to it's like schizophrenic.
That's not what that word means.
Shit. And so the binary the subconscious binary beats that they're putting in all of these movies.
Binaural, and they're not.
And just notice next time you watch a fucking movie that they're gonna do some bullshit script, and it's like,
they're gonna do so. Watch out, in the next movie there'll be a bullshit script.
Oh, it's like poetry. They're trying to act like it's poetry, and it's just
it's a film, so someone's trying to say something. Yeah,
it's written so beautiful. Well, that's what poetry is. Poetry is hypnosis. It's a form of mind control. It's a form of.
It's not. Percy Shelley,
the writer, getting you to understand their perspective. And
right. Yes. Art is often a way of an artist trying to capture a perspective or feeling and then allow you as a witness or observer of that piece of art to interpret that feeling that they put into that art when they made it. Yes? That's not nefarious. That's what art is. Correct.
And it's a fine line between art and poetry when they start.
Poetry is art! What? Dr. Gamble says, our ability to separate reality from fiction is why we can have acting. If you think it's real, you're not acting. Does this lady walk down the fiction aisle and think they're tiny kind of Christian people in a snowflake being tormented by green Krampus? Oh my god. This is a strange allusion to Horton Hears a Who.
Using that script, that writing, that literature, that poetry, those words as hypnosis and mind control to help persuade you into believing and accepting what they are presenting to you on the TV or on the movie. I can understand where all
that was the Grinch? No! The Grinch stole it from Horton Hears a Who, goddammit! Fucking Ron Howard.
All addicted to the internet, we're all addicted to social media, addicted to the TV, addicted to movies, but to disconnect from all that, it's like
the original thing that was a people living in a tiny thing was Horton Hears a Who, and then they stole that for the Ron Howard, Jim Carrey one.
Amish, they kind of have something right there, but just don't be delusional into thinking that you can just completely disconnect from the matrix, because reality is a matrix. Reality, there's two realities. There's the real reality, the true reality, God's reality, everything that really is, and then there's the reality of the matrix that we live in, which is the social construct of society. I hate saying that because
it's kind of funny. You're describing sort of reality versus the real, but you're doing it in biblical terms. That's unfortunate.
Because they're
Lance is trying to love herself, says, so if all art is mind control, what about the jewelry she's wearing, the clothes she's wearing, her makeup, her home decor? All of those are forms of artistic expression. I think in her head she's thinking more about narrative artistic expression. She wouldn't articulate it that way, but it seems like that's what she's trying to say.
Using these terms now and their propaganda to try to dismantle absolute truths, which absolute truths are just common knowledge, I think.
Like that movies have subtext?
It doesn't even have to be esoteric or spiritual. It could just be an absolute truth of like, we need meat in order to survive.
But we don't. People live all the time without eating meat. So that's not an absolute truth. That's a thing you believe that's untrue.
Meat and animals, we need to eat animals in order to live. We can't just be a breatharian. You can't just be
You certainly can't be a breatharian is the word, but that's not the same as being vegan. Vegan is still eating food. It's just you don't eat animal products. Plenty of people do that.
Vegan. No matter how much you want that to be, it's just an absolute truth. We need to eat animal products and
I'm feeling we're about to get some transphobia too, so maybe heads up for that.
In order to thrive, in order to survive. So that is why I don't like saying that, you know, it's like a part of the critical race theory, critical pedagogy fucking bullshit that they're trying to program all of.
I feel like if I asked her, hey, define pedagogy, define that.
Us into, and it's the same shit that is being pushed in schools. It's the same shit that is being pushed in the medical industry. Just trying to dismantle absolute truths like,
oh, here it comes, I can feel it,
the ones that we know for sure, nothing to do spiritually, but like there's men and there's women.
There it is.
Absolute truth. And just because people can identify as whatever they want to identify doesn't mean that we should be dictated and told that you're like me. I should be told that I'm a cis woman. I never said that. I said
that's just a definition. You are.
I'm a woman.
Right. You are a woman, a cis woman.
So my identity,
and I'm a trans woman,
aligns with absolute truth. I'm not in some delusional little mental illness bubble. And a lot of trans people know that they're mentally ill. They know that they have body dysmorphia.
Body dysmorphia is in the DSM-5, but it is not a delusional disorder. It's not something that's like, if we're looking between like a neurotic thing and a psychotic thing, it's on the neurotic side. It's something like depression or anxiety that doesn't affect you in a delusional way. So like, yes, gender dysphoria is something that is diagnosable, but it's not a delusional or a psychotic disorder. So you're incorrect about the way that you would describe that. Believing demons are literally real and hiding in music, that's delusional.
And so they would even tell you, a lot of them, what I'm saying is absolutely correct, and they wouldn't even want to start referring to biological women as cis women, birthing women.
You're a cis woman. That's what you are.
And vagina owners and all that
Vagina owners. Dr. Gamble says, math joke, there are two realities, imaginary reality, I times R, I real, and super reality, R to the power of 2, real squared.
Shit. My whole point to this is that our society is mentally ill. Our society has become the mouth of madness. Even normal people, even people who you and I think are like super, super with it and calm, collected, very smart, intelligent, even a lot of those people have major forms of mental illness because they are basically under the
It's odd she can't look in the mirror and see her mental illness herself. It's possible that this is a transference thing or something. I don't know. It's possible on some level she has either been told or is afraid that she is mentally ill, which isn't an unfounded concern based on the things she said. It's possible she's trying to get those feelings outward, the no you defense, basically. She's trying to obscure people thinking she's mentally ill by being, no, I can't be, you are, the world is mentally ill. Again, that's speculative, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. She's bringing it up a lot, which kind of implies it's something she's insecure about and trying to refute, even though no one asked.
Of hive mind. They have a parasitic ideology attached to them that they cannot discern for their own belief. And so when I say that even the most normal, sane people are mentally ill, it's because we are infected. Our society is infected by parasitic ideology and concepts meant to destroy us.
Everything I don't like is a parasitic identity / concept.
Meant to divide us. And my belief, it is all meant to create a new world, one world order where we don't have our own rights, where we don't own anything anymore, where it's just like a communist type of mentality, but they're making us believe that that is what we're after when it's just one big trick. It's one sneaky, delusional vegan trick that...
It's a vegan trick!
Communism would...
Communism is simply a vegan trick. Classic.
Work. Because it's like being directed to the gas chambers.
What the fuck?
And they're telling you you're going to go take a shower and everybody believes it. yes, we're just going to go take a shower. And then all of a sudden you're being gassed alive towards communism, towards being a rebel, you know, start a revolution.
She's aware the Nazis weren't communists, right? The Nazis and the communists in the Soviet Union were enemies, and in fact, the Nazi Party rose in part as a way to try and combat socialist or communist movements within Weimar Germany. No? Okay, cool.
Let's make a change. And
H. Baird says, when I started hormones and my head cleared for the first time in my life, my first thought was, is this what being normal feels like? And why are there any problems in the world? Why aren't we vacationing on the moon? It later occurred to me that most people have untreated mental health issues. Seems like it.
it's not for the better. They don't want to make a change for their better. They don't want to stop racism. They want reverse racism. They want
what the fuck? No.
Everybody who has been oppressed, any kind of race that has been oppressed, they want them to be the oppressors. And it's just, they want everything.
How about no oppressors? That'd be pretty dope, huh?
To be backwards and to be anarchy, like just no law at all, so that they can come in and create a fascist, totalitarian.
There's no rules, but they're also fascist. There's no rules and they're fascist. Anarchism and fascism are antithetical, like, political systems. You cannot both be a fascist and also be an anarchist. Like, by definition, you can't do that. Just so you know.
Society, a one world order. That's what it is all being directed to. And so that's why you are being brainwashed. I am being brainwashed constantly. It's all coming from the same source. It's like waterboarding of liberal, leftist, communist dialect that is being manipulated and used against you. And it's not even for real. It's just like veganism, how they tell you you can get more protein from broccoli than you can from chicken. They're doing the same thing with communism. It's a lie. It's already
That's certainly a sentence.
been tried over and over and over again. And there's always going to be a group of people who want to have more power, more money, and more control. So people think that by going against the government that they're actually doing a form of activism when all they're doing is what the government wants them to do. The government wants people to riot. The government wants people to be divided. They want us to fight. They want us to disagree. They want us to go and create anarchy in the streets so that they can come down and put their fascist foot down. This is all to gain control, to gain ultimate control so that no one can escape. It's to become like China. It's horrible. That's what they want. They want everybody to be on lockdown. They don't want anyone to be able to, like North Korea, they don't want anybody to be able to come and go as they please. Here in America, that is the one thing we are able to do. We can come.
That's the one thing we're able to do? Oh boy.
Come and go as we please. So if you want a new world order, if you want to be dictated to, if you want to fight for your rights and all that, then I say disconnect from everything. It's like the movie, The Happening. The Happening tells you...
What? No. The Happening?
You exactly what to do. Turn off the TV. Anybody who didn't hear the news, who didn't hear the parasitic ideology, they were fine. The little old lady, the moment that little old lady had her visitors, guests come over in the middle of nowhere telling her what happened, how...
It was the plants. She didn't even understand the movie The Happening. She didn't even understand the movie The Happening.
Society has gone mad and all this is happening. Suicide.
See what I mean? She doesn't understand what movies are about. Like, I thought I was being a little mean earlier when I was like, I don't think she understands what's happening in movies when she watches them. And she knows there's a message, so she thinks it's nefarious. No, I think I'm spot on. I don't think she knows how to follow the plot of a movie. Like, I don't think she knows Symbols. I don't think she knows how to interpret symbols correctly. Hydrate.
And then what happened? The little old lady goes mad. She turns into a zombie and starts attacking them.
I would love to see someone come up with some sort of standardized test that has to do with understanding symbols or interpreting symbols, and then run it on people who aren't conspiracy theorists and people who are conspiracy theorists, and see if there's a statistical significance between the conspiracy theorists and non-conspiracy theorists' ability to interpret symbols, common symbols that culturally would be understood generally. And it could be a range of things from very common to obscure, but like, I just have a feeling that there's some underlying mechanism where the parts of certain conspiracy theorists' brains or minds that deal with the interpreting of the symbolic doesn't work. And in lieu of an explanation for the symbols, their brain fills it in with a narrative, and that narrative is paranoid. And that paranoia, you know, does this. Anyway, Stone Corbell says, when she says a new phrase, there's just nothing connecting it to the previous thought. The communists and the trans people are going to bring about the 15-minute cities and fascism, and we can only rage against the machine, be inside the matrix. Yeah, I think that, again, language is symbolic. I think what she is getting out of these words and what you and I are getting out of these words is a very different thing. For her, I think it's more vibes as opposed to the literal meaning of what they are saying.
That is parasitic ideology. That is an allegory, an analogy on what they are doing to our society and what they want. They want you to be connected to the tube. They want you to be programmed. Television. They don't want you to put electricity down. Everything is connected. All these stories about the jinn possessing people and stealing their energy. And
the jinn, like from Islam? Oh, God. Atheist Brony says, I wouldn't be surprised if she thinks the movie WALL-E is about an ogre and talking donkey go on a journey across Middle-earth in order to stop Gargamel from eating the Smurfs.
And things like that. Like, it's really creepy because they're like urban legends. These are creepy stories, but they're all metaphors. It's an analogy.
Yes! Movies are metaphors! Oh my God! It's not a secret! It's not nefarious! That's the point! That's the point! They're fucking stories they're telling! Do you think, do you read the Bible? Bible stories are also usually allegorical.
To tell you exactly what we're doing when we're, like me, even right now, talking to this screen. The only thing that keeps me doing this is knowing that there are people on the other side of this. And the only reason I think that anybody even wants to watch anyone on YouTube as a real person is because they believe that someone real is on the other end of that. So now that they're making movies into just completely CGI, they don't even need the actors anymore. They're just going to be using AI voice, AI faces. What's the point of that? Let's go back to being organic. Let's go back to, you know, my dirt, God's ingredients. Let's paint. Let's draw. Let's use our hands. Let's mold clay.
Those things are also art. Visual mediums and music are just extensions of previous forms of art. There's not something corrupted about movies just because you don't understand them.
Let's do something. Let's go outside.
Jesus Christ. She says while uploading a disgusting YouTube video about her delusions. Oof. Well, that's unfortunate. Oh, she did a whole thing about the Mouth of Madness. That's funny.
We are alive, not only for
try and describe.
Jesus Christ. All right. I think I'm done for the day. I'm going 2.5 hours. And I've overloaded on chuds. So thanks everyone for hanging out. This was fun. Tomorrow we'll be back for Tinfoil Tuesday, so that'll be good. If you're doing gift subs this month, I don't normally do this, but I'm behind this month in terms of gift subs and subs in general. So later in the month, and if you're like, hey, I'm going to do some gift subs to someone on Twitch, and you're like, who am I going to do it to? Do it to me, please. Just wanted to put it out there. Consider me. All right, so have a good night, everyone. Let's see who we're going to raid on Twitch. Doo-doo-ba-ba-ba. Of course, Spokane Dogman. What about Bob? Overthought. Oh, Catsville. It's right.
34 has been waiting.
All right. Have a great night. Oh, DM Trey, thank you for 5 tier 1 subs. I appreciate it. People on YouTube, like the stream if you could. Other than that, I hope you have a great night as well. YouTube peeps, Mr. Blast, love ya. Hope you're doing well, and see y'all tomorrow. Stay cool, and don't fall for conspiracy theories. Maybe watch some videos on media literacy so you don't fall down a rabbit hole. That'd be good. Good night.